Welcome to the show, Doomslayers, Outcopticians, Lurkers, and everything in between. Thank you very much for tuning in. We're on the 1 minute chart on GME. As you can see, I drew in a line here at the bottom, an orange one. It is support. Above us, we have another orange line. It is resistance. Tell me more about support and resistance. Explain it to me, good Sir Jamie. I shall do that, and then at the top of the hour we crack on with the TA, the top of the hour power hour. Here we go, folks. This is an early doors segment on what it is, how you use it, and what it's for. Support and resistance. Welcome to the support and resistance segment. If you are only using one method for deriving trading signals, little is better than support and resistance. If you're using any combination of indicators, then you're likely to do better should you include support and resistance in your analysis. And resistance, support and resistance a horizontal line that runs along the most recent peak or trough in price action. From recent price action that runs along the x-axis. What about that? Huh? Can he beat it? Not a single not a single part of that segment went correctly. The volume was too low. The play that I was skipping into it at different times and making it all wrong, and I'm going to have to do it again later. So back to the charts. We're ahead of time now. The good news is we've caught up because that section has been scrubbed. Let's call it a blooper. Crank the volume. I have to work on the volume in order to fix the continuity. So it is. I think the volume here is loud enough. There's a big discrepancy. We shall have me and me later doing more on the what it is, support and resistance. We shall cover that shortly. Thanks very much for tuning in. If you've managed to make it and sit down, then congratulations. You're just in time for the important part. Thank you very much for tuning in. Let me know if you're all ready or if there's anything you'd like to cover. I'm thinking top of the hour, GME, AMC. We'll take a quick look at Royce and Naked and anything else that anybody would like to look at. We'll also have a quick look at... Is my volume low? Is my mic volume low? Tell me that. Tell me that and tell me no more. Tell me this and tell me no more. Yes, fine now. Okay, so this volume seems to work. It did look like there was a large discrepancy, so I'll have to look at that perhaps in a break in a moment. Well, later on in the show, once we've got something covered, right? Once we've done something. Talking about doing something, price action at 162.73. You could do something for us. Today we've not really moved far from our open and our close. AMC, a couple of percent, 2.75% at 33.98. We came up and touched the top of this channel. We called that very well on this channel, and we'll see how price action performs subsequently. BB if you have time, please, and we'll chuck BB in there. No problem, Rob, no problem at all. Volume is good. The vid volume is low. Yes, it was. I could see it on the old monitor there that it wasn't going higher, so I'll have to have a look at that. The blooper had loads of echo in it for me. Yes, there was also that because the volume on the microphone was still up, so it needs work, that part of the presentation. And That's why I was late, because I was making that segment, so we'll see how that goes. Pardon me for being late. Thank you very much again for everybody tuning up. And of course, Rob, yes, we shall cover that. No problemo. No problemo at all. Liked. Thank you very much. Please click the like button. Yes, that's appreciated. I'm discombobulated with that mistake, or I would have covered it. Yes, like buttons appreciated. Clips and shares and tweets and Facebook shares and WhatsApp shares and everything really appreciated. Thank you very much for everybody who does or is inclined to do anything like that, watching live or later on. Thank you very much. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, good night, wherever you might be. Bing bong, the price is wrong. AMC, $34. Nice one, ticking over. GME, 162.73. We'd like to see this break through its resistance. Obviously, support there significantly further away. This is on a 1 minute time frame. If you look at it in 15 minutes, you can see that neither are dramatic for price action. Both, though, are important, equally so. Being closer to resistance means you might have your eye on the next level above. That comes in around 175, 176. Just looking left on price action of 15 minutes, and then you can see that there is significant levels all the way through the 80s, the 90s, and then as a quick jump up to 220. Here to learn and shill my own words for more moon tickets. Etsy, Wilderlaq, Wilderlaq. That sounds interesting. Manifest destiny. You're creative, huh? And working on things that you're doing, selling on Etsy at Wilderlaq. I may check that out myself later on. Thanks very much for the donation. That's really appreciated. And big respect out there doing creative things and trying to make the most of your own talents. You're quite a funny chap, I've noticed on Twitter. Thank you, my friend. Got another new one for you. Real please. Happy Friday, Jamie. Real being the ticker. Katie Babes. No problemo. Thank you very much for the donation. I appreciate it. Tradespotting, Jamie, did you see the DD and Python thing and the real price being suppressed through mix? Real price is 3 to 5k apparently. No, I didn't see it. No, yo. I didn't see that DD. PYTH. Take it that's a ticker rather than you're talking about Python, as in the programming language. Tell me more, Joe. Tell me more. Bing bong. Matt Milanese, $10. Talk about what you like, man. Take a few minutes for yourself. You deserve it. You give so much for so little. Thanks. Cheers very much, Matt. I shall ease into it, though. We are near the top of the hour. 1 minute off. 6 minutes, 5 seconds. At that point, we're going to crack right on. Did I miss much? No, Kimmy, yo, Kimmy, yo. You didn't mean nothing. So here goes. I'm going to go down to the 1 minute, and we're going to start there and say, as you can see, GME, TA, welcome. Oops, here's the rest. LeMayo, thanks, Matt. That's very good of you. You're a very kind gentleman, although you're still 2 cents short of that promised $10. Haha! Thanks, mate. Hours of family fun. Welcome, Spider Monkey. Holy McJugers, that's awesome. Spider Monkey, that's a significant commitment. Thank you very much. Hours of family fun. You're really appreciated. Thank you for taking that big step and helps that support that much. That's really, really big deal. Thanks. Welcome, Hours of family fun, everybody. Thank you very much. Big welcomes from chat, please. Okay, you can start now. I'm here. Okay, Dink, I'll start now. I did start slightly, but then I'll start again ploppily now. Thank you, my friend. Thank you. I love the alerts. Do you guys have to listen to them for a second this time? Well, if I'm going to do the TA, I'll turn them down, and then maybe I'll turn them back up for a change. Who knows? I do like that a little bit. On the 1 minute time frame, on GME, you can see that we're between these two lines of support and resistance. There perhaps is some sort of formation forming within it that looks a little bit like a head and shoulders. That would be a reversal pattern. It comes at the top of this little move. It would be then that price action would drop down if it was the measured move. If that did become successful and price action did take it, you could expect to see it back in the 150s, the low 150s. If it's not the case, we should expect to see resistance broken here. Maybe a couple more touches, and at which point you would expect to see prices move up again. This is a 1 minute time frame, and so you can't get much from any indicator on top of that, but you can see from your moving averages, you're above the 200, you're above the 50, and that's positive. You can also see from this Fibonacci retracement, if we take that from our most recent high on the left to our most recent low, that we've touched off the 236 at the top of it a couple of times. If we can reclaim that, that would be very significant, especially on a higher time frame. That comes in and around resistance, and so it's obviously important. If you look at the slightly higher time frames going up to the 15-minute, you can see that we are in this significant downtrend. Obviously, it's been persistent since the start of June, and the shareholder meeting with the share release since that date, things have been in a downtrend. We'd love it if we could start putting in significant time frame. We could start putting in an uptrend. We've got it in the 1 minute. We potentially have it in the 15 minutes, though we are in a period of flux. That flux is represented by price action accumulating at resistance. That's a bullish signature. If we were to also add, now that we're here, we'll add on Rocket Crops RSI EMI. We can see that RSI EMA, pardon me. We can see that this most recent high is below the bullish control zone, so we'd like to see it push right up in there as it broke through resistance. That would be very positive. We can see that its most recent low, we scooped in and around the 200 period. We put in that touch of resistance area where we prove it to be support below us, and we can see that we're tracing the EMA. It may continue higher. There's no divergence on these previous peaks because price action was lower than its own previous high and the one it put in the cycle. You can also see that things are very positive on this time frame with regards to RSI back when we were at this price level previously. So that's good. All of that bodes well. RSI, if it can stay above the center line here on any retracement, that'd be very positive. It's also got this other moving average, which I believe is the 18 period. Yes, 18 period moving average. It's maintaining above that. That's positive too. You know, you might have that as the 20, the 21. Up to the hourly time frame, you can see that we've now reclaimed a 50 period moving average. We've put in an open and close there. This is your second one in a row. That's significant. If that maintains above this level at around 162 for the end of today, then you can expect price action to be looking towards 170. Does that come in post-market or pre-market around Monday? It quite possibly could do. The 200 period on the hourly will prove to be a level of resistance, but it may well be that we wick above there into around 172, because as you can see there was candle closes here before this most recent section of price action on the chart. So it's likely that if we break this level, there's quite a sharp swift move taking us to the low 170s, and that looks as though it might be on the cards going through the timelines. Onto the 4 hour, you can see that up and above there you got 186 and 194 for those two moving averages. They're both in a positive splay with the 50 above the 200. We've got a positive slope on our 18 period moving average. Of course that hugs the price much tighter and is a much more closely resembles price action. Trend hugs it a lot more, and as such it's not necessarily as reliable for making long-term trading decisions, but it does show you what's going on the more recent trend, and that is obviously upwards. So the longer that continues, the better. If it takes us above this 236 and the moving average itself moves up there, that would be positive. You'd likely see prices in and around those low 170s looking left. You can see a number of reasons why that would also be an area of congestion. So expect that GME makes a move for those levels in the not too distant future. If not, it's got plenty of levels below. As you can see, this line we drew in on the 1 minute time frame representing support, it's proven to be on the 15 minute, the hourly, the 4 hour, and now the daily as very significant for body closes, wicks, and more recent price action. In particular, this whole formation can be defined by this area here, this liquidity zone. And price action maintaining within it for a while is understandable. You're on the daily and you can see the significance of these moving averages in their fullest sense. Here you have the 18 period below us. It's 165 open and close on the daily time frame. 2 days, or as I like to say, open and close, which would necessitate it being the second of those 2 days that opens, and the close being 2 in a row above that line would constitute it being broken on my interpretation of how to break support and resistance. If you are a very aggressive trader and you're not relying on a body close, then there are other forms of confirmation that you can take with regards to breaks. One of those that I would use would be if the wick at that stage, because the body close hasn't happened, so you can't rely on that, but price action has extended in what may still become to be a wick, but at that point in time is candle. If that extends 1% of the value's asset beyond that previous level of support or resistance, I would constitute that as confirmation of a trend break, and may influence my trades if I was a breakout trader or a reversal trader, depending on other factors. And for more information on that, check my educational playlist or my indicator playlist and how I like to do things. So this is there you're looking at 18 period moving average, and you break that, like I say, it's at the low ones, the high 60s, the low 170s. It's a zone, but really for the body closes, you're looking for it to be above $164 open and close. Then your next target really on daily time frame within a few days is up at 180 something. Which at that point you would say, well, we've put in a significant turnaround. Let's take it from its most recent high to this low and say that price would be anything above 177, especially on a 2-day. Let's go up to it on a 2-day close above 177. And here you can see again the significance of this 2-day body close here, this breakdown area. On the left, it was our breakout to the top side. This has formed so much of the history of GME for so many of you who are invested in it, is this zone, right? This is your neighborhood. You know the shortcuts. You know how to find your quick way all around this part of town. And, it's your fucking neighborhood. People in here are your guys. Like, this has proved to be support since price action has been up here this whole year, really. This has proved to be a significant area of support. It's where all the accumulation has happened, and it's where we've got our rocket pad. This is where we take off from. As you can see, every time that's happened, this body close, this body close, this body close, and in future, another body close, which will be the staging zone. And currently what we're doing is filling up the jets. That's what we like to do on this thing, fill up the jets and then fuck the bastards in the ass. Right, so in your 2-day time running, it shows you those areas. You want open and close on that. Despite what you might get in wicks and everything else, you want an open and a close. That's two candle closes on this, which would be 4 days on a 2-day time frame above 177. That's very significant, very significant. Anything like this similar above the 382 Fibonacci retracement, which comes in at $201.27. Similar deal. 618 to 0.65, that's the golden pocket on this Fibonacci sequence. You start opening closing 2-day time frames above $254. Fuck yes. And that's how you do the TA. Welcome to Tradespotting. We'll look at the weekly because today's Friday. People have got contracts that are expiring. Not very many, I noticed from the poll that we've got going in chat there. Just quickly check it. And we ran it from the start. If you'd like to vote in it and haven't done yet, the options are: have you got options expiring today? Yes, 6%. 20% on the 20th of this month, 8% of people. On the 27th, 2% of people. And holding shares only 83%, which is quite a healthy distribution, I would say. But if you want to vote in that, go on ahead and have a look at it. But we can see that 6% of people who have options expiring today may be interested in where the weekly close comes in at. You can see that if today finishes where we are now, we have a bullish engulfing candle on the weekly. This is very fucking good. If it does anything like push up to 163.50 by the end of today and close up there, that would be really, really significant with regards to market structure. It would also mean that this bullish candle's body closed out with the wick on the top side of the previous candle. When it comes to bullish engulfing, that's really fucking bullseye. So let's see if that happens. If it does, fuck yeah, that's fantastic. So that's fantastic news. That look, you can't really ask for anything more dramatic than that when it comes to candlestick patterns. Surely between these there could perhaps have been what we call an abandoned baby, and that is perhaps the only way, that or some sort of, this is better. You could have perhaps had a doji in there as well, but I suspect if you were to look at it, go back down and look at it on the daily time frames, you would find one. You can't ask for much more than this when it comes to classical charting. And I mean that from the very most traditional sense. This is the sort of thing that a lot of people rely on. It's really, really, really good sign. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, GME. So great, great news. I'll quickly open the Max Payne and have a look at that. I'll get it up here off the screen. So here we are, open interest, chart maturity 13th of the 8th. So this is open interest expiring today. And as you can see, large peaks, people betting on the $200. And then you crazy people that were betting on 325. But depending on when they got them, who knows how they managed to handle that trade. Congratulations if you did well. You can see volume here, most of the long side volumes coming in at 165. That's fucking awesome. If we can finish up at 165 and change, then really, really significant news. There's shit all volume on the downside. It looks as though Max Payne will come in much closer to us. Anything above 160 is a win, a very big win in terms of its distinction from a draw or a loss, but not a huge win in terms of the liquidity fight that's going on, though still significant. So it's good to see. Everything's fucking in our favour at the minute. This is the sort of thing that I'd normally get really excited about. It's just, yeah, I am excited about it. I am excited. And then you can see here a representation of this with regards to this sort of stupid ass graph here. You're looking between 160 and 170. Anything at 165 is your lowest candle. That's your most likely place that it would go to with regards to the least resistance in terms of flow and open interest. So that's the Max Payne, and that tallies quite well with the TA that we did in the lead up to it. So you're looking at 165. Fantastic. Anything over 163. Equally fantastic from a technical perspective. Slightly better victory in the liquidity battle, a couple of dollars higher. That's your GME TA, and you won't see anything fucking better than that. Down to the 1 minute time frame, checking in on the auto, you can see you're below your 200 period moving average. Well, are you? You've had 1 minute. Yeah, I mean that's confirmation that you went below it. Let's see if you can recover though. You definitely did go below it. Is it fake out? Well, this area here, this orange line, I imagine that's a bullish one, yes. Dropping back from the top of this channel, as we said, that's likely, and we touched on it slightly earlier. We didn't manage to persist above the 50 period moving average, having already dropped below your 18 exponential. That was a negative sign. That was a further negative sign. Also then dropped below this area of horizontal resistance. If you look left, you can see that there, and it aimed to make it support when it was above it, but it was never able to do that with any significant degree of force. Entirely unconvincing price action, considering you needed to see that little bit extra of it when it reached this diagonally sloping resistance, and you didn't see it. In fact, you also saw a degree of bearishness between these two peaks on the RSI. That is to say, the conviction behind this trend was lower than it was here, yet price action went further, and that's indicative of a likely pullback. On the 1 minute chart, at the very fucking least, you would expect to see a test of the 200 at that point. That's a drop from $34 down to $33. That's a significant enough percentage move, and as such, there are lots of bastards who trade this. It's like there's other things you can be trading. It's like it'll get you more money. Stop paper handing this, please. It was bad. for all sorts of ethical reasons. You know, really is like, just trade something else. Your 18 period moving average, open and close above that again, that would be good. Bounce between the 250, that would be understandable. Unfortunately, it would look like a head and shoulders. It would then likely put in another touch of divergence at that stage. And you could then be looking at a measured move, and should that come something like this. Bear in mind I'm on a log chart, so my things are done A, better than most people, and B, they'll change as I move them around, the size of them relative to other areas on the chart. So down here you can see there's an area where you'd likely get a move down to 32.50. It may be that today the price action pulls back a little bit there, and you see it there. That would be a higher low. It would be a continuation of this uptrend. You could then see prices start consolidating at slightly higher levels. Let's check that out on the 50-minute time frame. You can see again there is a touch of higher high on the RSI, but lower low on the on the price. So unless price action does maintain, and that would be represented by the RSI turning around at the center line here and prices heading back northwards again, it would also necessitate holding this 236. It becomes obviously important at this point. Let's take that measured move down to there, because that's where it would be, and sure, the breakdown of that head and shoulders may well be slightly lower, and that would then constitute the measured move. Let's get it off the chart so it's not so confusing. We've got plenty of lines on here at the minute. You can see also that there is a test between the 50 period moving average and the 200 period moving average on this 15-minute time frame. Every one of those previously has been a failure with bearish divergence. This is a downtrend. You need extra conviction here, right? This is like world champion of the world heavyweight boxer, right? You come in, you fight that guy, and you get a draw, right? Fuck off, right? He's the champion. He already won, right? You can't reclaim or take the crown away from somebody by matching them. You have to beat them, and so you need extra, right? There has to be something there that you can define as being different, and if that difference is a divergence that suggests bearishness, that's the fucking opposite of what you're looking for at that stage. And you'd really like to see this go the opposite way then. Burn off that bearish divergence, put in a strong trend and move on your RSI, even if price action hasn't yet broken this level, and then perhaps slip through, come back for a retest and confirm some sort of bullish price action. Until that happens, it's not convincing me of anything. On the early time frame, yeah, you put this 382 above you, it's difficult for it to beat that at this stage. You can see there's a different measured move on the charts there. I'll cover that in a minute. It's starting to show the formation it came from in the early here. It may well be this is a channel. It may be that it's a bull flag at the end of a pole, or it may well end up be something like a falling wedge. That itself is a bullish pattern, something like this here. It's had 1, 2, 3 touches. That means it means something. And you've had 1, 2, 3, perhaps as much as 5 or 6 touches on the top. Now after 3 touches, any subsequent touch in my mind makes that line more significant, yet at the same time weaker. And so you put those two things together, there's obviously implications for that, and that means that moves from it, of course, can be more volatile and more violent. They don't even necessitate more volume in order to be that way. In fact, the less volume, the more likely it is that the volatility will jump in, which is perhaps counterintuitive to some people, but it seems pretty fucking obvious to me. Then that's why you might get something like the measured move off a bull flag, which was usually something like this, and various forms of this and that. Oops, didn't mean to grab the fib, grabbed the measuring tool. You take your measuring stick. This is measurement somewhere in around, you can see move things on my charts, and the size of them changes because I use logarithmic scale, but let's say you draw it from there and you take it to somewhere in around there. These things don't have to be deadly accurate, as I'll explain in a minute. And you move that to the breakout area. Say it did come at the top of here, which is very possible, It's possible, right? It's not going to break it when it's at the bottom. It's going to break it when it's at the top. You have to be in it to win it, and every time it's there, it's got a chance, and I'm willing it to do it. So if it does make it, then you're looking up a measured move that in its full extent would take you to the 2414 of this greater Fibonacci that the whole move since the pole at the top of this potential bull flag. Since then, you've created this retrace, which has put in this Fibonacci retracement, and the extension and target therein becomes 1414, which is the Fibonacci sequence 1414, which is at $56, $57. That would constitute approximately a 60% move out of this and would be adequate. The full extent of that move is at the 2414 up to the 2618, and that's up and around 90s, low 90s to the $100. If something crazy happens, then you could see up at the 1618, which is $137. And let me be clear, I am very bullish on AMC. Very, very, very bullish. There may be a retracement down to a high $24, but let it be known that Tradespotting is very, very bullish on AMC. And that's that time frame taking us up to the 4 hour. We'll quickly go and look at the daily, and we'll see one of the reasons why Tradespotting says things like that is because what we call this is a violent uptrend with higher highs. It's broken into all-time highs. This is blue sky breakout. We've come back and retested the area that we broke out from. This is previous all-time highs in at around $36. We're obviously already then having tested that area. If we move back up above there, it could be stair-stepping across a smaller time frame, support and resistance, slightly significant Fibonacci levels, start to realize measured moves from pattern breakouts, and it's only a hop, skip, and a jump before you're back in all-time highs. Now, people might get scared about that because it's 100% away from where we are at the minute. They might get anxious. They might not understand the significance of the TA we've covered here. But if that's you, don't worry. You can watch this video back over and over again. On the daily time frame, you can see the RSI is really low there. It's a good place for it to bounce. If it reaccumulates above the bearish control zone and then makes it above this center line here as price action touches horizontals, that would be good to see. You also see that our two most recent spikes here are very, very violent. This is the sort of thing that people jump into when moves happen, and so they go even further than you might expect. And so any sort of breakthrough of your previous high, which is also the all-time high in around $70, any sort of breakthrough there is likely to have a crazy range on it. And just so you know, that first move that did some sort of, this is the first time it put in, and the nature of this volatility was a move of 906%. These things decrease over time, and I'm on a logarithmic chart, so you can expect more of this to happen as price moves. The next time though it was 640%. That's very significant again. And if we did go from somewhere around here and it did take us up to that 100 or that $97 area, $90 ever, that would be then another 150, 160% move again. And so is 160% all that crazy when you've just done like 600% and previous to that you just did like nearly 1,000%? No, it's not crazy. It's in fact like relatively modest. And that's the AMCTA. So thank you very much for everybody who tuned in for that part. Next up, we're going to have a quick chat with the chat. We're going to see what it is that people have been saying. I'm going to catch up with the super chats and things like that I have missed. Please note there are other ways to donate that have less fees, but I appreciate every possible way that everybody puts in, does support this channel and me and the message, and helps make it possible for me to keep putting out content that I hope helps people, so everybody benefits. Thank you for helping me, and thanks for everything that helps for other people. And everybody, thank everybody in chat, and all be great people. Is that a knock at the door? I can't be doing with that. Right, now, what time is that? It is not. It was something in the bar below. It is 19:25 where I am, so that wasn't Power Hour. Power Hour's coming up soon. Okay, great. That's good to hear. Good to hear. We're going to cover BlackBerry. I remember that much. I'll end that poll now so everybody's had a chance to vote. You can see the information there. If you thought that you were surrounded by people who were constantly trading options and that's what this channel was all about, well, nope. It's everybody that owns shares mostly here. 376 votes, that's significant enough considering the amount of people that are watching. And vast majority, 82% of people only hold shares. So you look around and for every 5 of you, only one of you holds any option contracts. chances are they also own shares too. So it's a good mix. Trace one, how do you feel about Speed Art? Thanks. Enjoy the weekend. No idea. I haven't got any feelings. I haven't got any feelings. Feelings, isn't that a complicated word? Perceptions and sensations, the distinction between them. What it is to live a conscious life. And if you believe in morality and ethics, is there good? Is there bad? And which are you? A big, big question there. A big question. Not even considering the fact that you were specifying a particular ticker trade. So what else is everybody else saying, yo? Coco is not exploitable for the purposes of this channel. Exactly. And Coco, as Rocky was saying earlier, is a bit of a princess. You know, her full name is Mademoiselle Coco Chanel. She only does what she wants to do, and she doesn't get out of bed for less than $10,000. Quite right, too. It's the way I would live if I had half a choice about it. Here, hi, gang of awesome people. Hello, gang of awesome people and folks and different strokes and whatnot. I am going to get up Rocky's segment that he made on moving averages so that you can watch that. And if you've already seen it, congratulations, you're going to learn a little bit more about it. Little bits more about it. There is Good Morning Stonk America today. Pardon me as I skip to that part of the video. Has it got chapters? Yes, it has. Wow, whoever did that, I suspect I know who it was, and you are amazing. Where does it come in at? Funny jokes and a poll. Ah, that's a good chapter title. Sugar. I don't see the section though marked out. Is it a section? Is it even a section? Well, Rocky didn't have the charts on the time. So I think I may have to skip that. Idea because I can't find it and I shan't go through it looking for it. Right, so $72. That's the top of that on AMC. That's what we're looking for. AMC and GME, obviously, in terms of its long-term trend, whereas its top is significantly up on the charts we're looking at. It's all-time high, even more so, though they did peak at different times. This is the one to go on, though. 341. It's less than 100% up, so just the differences between the charts aren't immediately obvious. Some of those differences are the x-axis. If you take that out of the equation, I'd still say the area to break on GME is a lower percentage rise from the area to break on AMC. There is a qualifier in that you had a previous all-time high, and that is again another step up. So I suppose that evens the scale on that front. And when you are looking at it on a significant time frame, the 4 hour or above, they're both putting in formation near the top of price action on those charts. So it's very difficult to make any meaningful distinction between them that doesn't itself have a qualifier, other than to say that this has a degree of both more reliability, in that I think it's an ascending triangle, and that has better odds of success than a bull flag that isn't yet confirmed to even be a bull flag. So in that sense, I'd say it's slightly more reliable in one instance. And I'd also say that there is just from a top level analysis, there is this is more is more easy to define as accumulation at resistance than AMC. So it's just not as easy to define this yet as being so. Stop changing color, because of the nature of this extreme and exclusive downtrend subsequent to the high. Had it put in, like an ascending triangle type of thing, like here's your lows, it's not going lower than this, and on the top side it's debatable, but on the lows it's not going lower. Had it done something like that, that would then make it more like GME. It hasn't actually done that yet, unless you count these two touches, and then those two touches are obviously less significant than 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then also having used it as confirmation of support previously, having broke below it. So these are distinctions that can be made by these two on these two assets. The only reason you'd be pushed to making them is because there's people out there on Twitter who constantly say things like, "Whoa, isn't it amazing how these two things perform exactly the same?" And the truth is, it's just fucking Twitter chat, right? They're just trying to increase their audience by saying these two assets have got exactly the same chart, because then they'll attract people who own both of them. But they are different, right? They're different. Both the charts are different. And so is every fucking chart in the world. Some of them may have correlations, some of them be more or less reflexive to certain news catalysts and so on. But saying something like, "Wow, they're so similar, these two charts," it continues to astound me how similar these two charts are. Saying something like that on Twitter is so inane, And while I do use Twitter properly, to slay people and deliver a very particular aspect of my personality, which makes things, more interesting for me and everybody else, I do find it hard sometimes not to tell people who've got a lot of respect in this community, just to shut the fuck up talking shite on Twitter, you fucking fanny. So I can say that here without directing it at anyone in particular. Jackson Hunter, talking about fucking legends though, on the opposite end of the scale, and in terms of the nicest people you're likely to meet, and someone that's not only worth following on Twitter for their advice with regards to GME and AMC and trading in general, but just for the simple fact that he's one of the nicest people you'll ever meet, that everything he does has the purest of intentions and motivations. It's Jackson Hunter. He's an absolute legend. And we're lucky to have prominent personalities like himself, and it's a reflection on us and our community that you don't need to be desperately controversial or in any way acerbic or perhaps even slay as I do to be known and to be chosen to represent us. And Jackson is that guy. He's absolute gold dust. He's a nice guy. He's a good man. And he's been through lots of different things in life that I admire and respect him so much. And I'd say that if I hadn't spoke to him for 5 minutes, I knew he was a friend for life. Absolutely love the guy. And there he is in chat too. What a freaking legend. There you are, Jackson Hunter. You freaking legend, you. I've just added you as a moderator, which isn't really a moderator around it here. It's more of an honorary position, a knight of the round table. And my Lord Jackson, you now have joined our esteemed ranks. It's been thrust upon you, a knighthood, whether you like it or not. It is now being bestowed upon your broad shoulders, brother. And Jackson, I fucking love you, man. You're an inspiration for goodness in me. Never mind the rest of the world. And it's hard to do that in me. Tell you about it. Legend. And thank you for the donation, my friend. Right. So, moving on from that brilliant moment. Seeing Jackson. Love you, man. What else are we going to do? Well, we've covered this TA. Freaking awesome. Thank you so much. You don't need to thank me, Jackson. You are everyone. What I do is this is people who've either significantly helped the channel or the cause or are good in real life, and I mean good people. And you are. Usually the qualifier is like Rick Grimes asks people certain questions, and mine is, can you have you or will you help 1,000 people this year? And Jackson, you've done that out of the park. Times that by at least 40,000 people you've helped just in the last few months. Change their lives, the way they think about the world and the way that the rest of their lives are going to go, and all of the consequences of those good actions and how that spreads out. You are an angel, Jackson. Seeing people say fannies everywhere won't stop being funny in the UK. Yeah, no, it won't be. It's hilarious over here. It's hilarious. Joseph of Arimathea was a knight of the Round Table. Joseph and Jackson. Jackson Hunter has been knighted by King Jamie. I am going to tweet this. That's an excellent tweet, yes. That is autopoetic. Hold on. One day I'll know how to say that. There is speculation that expiring futures contracts provides the buying pressure for the quarterly price action. Have you seen this, Didi Cryan? Thoughts on this market driver? I've seen various things written by your boy, which I respect his contribution, significant contribution. What do I think? There is speculation. Speculation, well, we like speculation around here because it's what drives price action. The expiring futures, okay, provide the buying pressure. Well, those contracts are expiring, those would be calls. That would result in buying pressure on settlement for the quarterly price action. So that's those expiring once every 3 months, which would chime with the FTD cycles and the market manipulation tactics that the short hedge funds use. Have you seen this, DD? No, but I imagine I've summarized it there in interpolating your question. My thoughts on this as a market driver. True, yes, very much likely that will be, and that your message itself is incredibly concise and encapsulates so many more things than just that question and its own answer, because in the very first sentence your third word's speculation and your last two words are market driver. That alone could have been your entire message, and the answer is yes. Price is driven exclusively by speculation, and speculation with regards to that narrative is intense. It's very convincing, and a lot of people trade with it. So yes, I believe that it will be and is having and has had a consistent effect on price action. So yes, thank you very much for the question, and I hope that is some answer to it, despite the fact that I can't give you a review of the DD, other than to say that I respect that individual's contribution hugely. Moving from one legend to another in that sense. The work that people do is what's important, of course, even above their own personality. Content is a king, and yeah, I like it. I like that whole thing. Works for so many reasons with regards to the way I look at things. Oh, damn, those grits sound freaking bomb. I don't know why jalapeno was capitalized, but apparently I think this plays an important part. It may well do, Apple. It sounds legit to me, whatever it is. If you ever meet McGregor, call him a fanny. You'll appreciate it. Exactly, yeah. If you ever meet Conor McGregor, make sure you go up and tell him you think he's a huge fanny. You'll really appreciate that. Definitely good, smart decision there. Food prawn. I can confirm that McGregor is a proper fanny. Well, there you go. That's confirmation. From Shane DeBush. My lord, Shane DeBush. I like when you're in a kind, calm mood trade spotting. I'm always in a calm, if you were to add up the percentage of time with which you'll see an extreme version of my behavior, then it does constitute just a very small sliver of time. And generally speaking, I am quite kind and calm, I would say. Obviously, my identity is in a continuous period of negotiation with those people who decide what it will be and how that I interact with the society and others as individuals or a whole. And so I understand that my identity, my self-identity, despite it being self-identity, my identity is always in a continuum of negotiation and flux in that sense. So it may well be that, have you seen me recently or through one perspective, then your feelings on me in that conscious moment may well be to make a decision about my character. But the truth is that if you were as close as I feel to you guys, as to me, as I feel to you, then you would understand that I actually am like a really nice, calm, and kind and generous and thoughtful person. That's truly who I am. I just don't take fucking shit from anybody for fuck all reason for 5 fucking milliseconds full fucking stop. Have you heard that the DD, that the short hedgies are fucked? I have, Daniel. It's the most convincing DD I've seen to date, and will be crushed under the foot of a million fucking fannies holding GME until the end of Ragnarok. Yeah, I've read that. I'm kind of a huge fan of that DD, the collective body of due diligence that's been done with regards to those very specific points that my Lord Daniel raises are among the most convincing arguments that I've ever read. In fact, they motivate me to commit my life energy to the pursuit and realization of our goals with regards to destroying the bastards that run the world. Jackson Hunter, I owe you thanks for having Tradespotting on with you. I would never have found these two Scottish apes, although Rocky Crop mentioned gems. They're Rob Davis Redneck Pisano. What an interesting mix of names up there. Yes, Jackson put me on his show. It was generous of him. He did it when I had obviously less subscribers than I do now, to a significant number. And he was very, very open with me, and very, very nice, and like as welcoming and unassuming as you're ever likely to find somebody. Doesn't let anything go to his head. He's such a modest guy. And he put me on, and he gave me a platform, and he made me look really good too. And I had a great chat with him. And sometimes it's like that, when you meet somebody and you get on, like, what it's like. Hey, it doesn't happen to me in years, but like you meet someone when you're growing up, and you're in some scenario or whatever, and you meet someone that you wouldn't have otherwise met, and you get on like straight away, and you're laughing and joking, and it's like you've known each other for ages, and you're closer than most of the other people you might even have turned up there with, like that sort of thing. You don't get it as much as you get older, and that. And getting it when I met Jackson, I was like, yeah, nice one, good feelings. Nice moment for me along the way, and did lots for the channel. Thanks, man. Thank you for subscribing, Fernando. Hisharfurkt, they are. This is the way. Pisano is how it's pronounced. Pisano. Paisano. Paisano. Redneck Paisano. Redneck Paisano, of course. That old name. That old chestnut. You are kind. I joke that you have 2 volume settings. Two. Yeah. One that's not loud enough. One that's far too fucking loud. I saw that show. Are you and Rocky siblings? We are. We are indeed siblings. It was a bromance. It was a true bromance. Okay. Everybody happy? Everybody happy with everything so far? I hope so. Tea time with Rocky. No tea, that's fine. Have coffee. Rocky's still got his roll in his hand there, or I would say that was... Oh, look. Kim Yo. Yo, Kimmy Yo, Kimmy Yo, Kimmy Yo. You remind me of a song. Thank you so much for joining up and becoming a member. It's appreciated. Kimmy Yo, I'd say welcome to the family, but you're already part of the family in every possible sense. Thank you so much. Jamie, Bane of the Hedges. He will not stop until he hears the lamentations of their women. Yes, they'll be writing ballads in their evil hedgy caves, in the dark, dank, damp underground holes that they'll be forced to live in for generations. They will be writing tales of woe and singing ballads of their lost relatives, those who couldn't withstand the slaying of doom, the Tradespotting and the doomslayers and upcropticians brought uponeth their doors. Can you please have a look at Hivabita? Possibly, yes. I need to go and take a quick break at the toilet now. Tradespotting, did you ever reveal why you take the 18 and 55 period moving average? Well, yesterday it was 18.36.54. And they were, for a very particular reason, I was prepared to give away a Bing Bong t-shirt as a prize for anyone who could guess why that was, that I had used those numbers, those magic atomic numbers, but nobody did. Nobody got it, and so nobody won the prize. And to say that I was disappointed in you is an underestimation, as a I suppose that's not really fair. To say that, yes, I was hopeful that it would be a quickly snapped up answer, a quickly realised prize, but unfortunately, woe is me, woe is you. You was not able to guess why. Noble gases, atomic weights. But that wasn't close enough to say they were the atomic numbers. They were the magic atomic numbers. I'm surprised. I'm surprised that no one got it. I don't think I saw that the DD Daniel referred to. Can anyone post it on Discord or direct me? I just now tuned in, and now I have to go. Very busy day, but I will watch the stream later. From the looks of the chart, you offered a lot of good information today. Thank you, Kenya Menke. Thank you very much. From the looks of the chart, well, let's look at the charts, right? this is what I was talking about. Where have my lines gone? They were important. Here it is. Yes, so you've got some obvious lines there. I mean, it's like, you know, drawing a picture for people here. You can see there's various things going on that I deem to be important. Below here you'll see various indicators that themselves tell a story. And you chuck that to the 15 minutes, you can see even more relevance with regards to that picture, and you can see extra lines on the chart here and why they might be popping up becomes quite clear. Hourly, you get another picture. You get more interesting areas and information. Same is true on the 4 hour. And the daily, you've also got so much more you can build into your analysis to give you a picture of what's going on over a long term. So yes, I didn't need to draw so many lines. I've drawn much more. Yesterday I drew many more lines. But I've covered everything, and I've done it in a comprehensive fashion, including a look at volatility. Not so much volume, not that's completely irrelevant at this stage because it's so low and because there is no new trend to yet identify or confirm. And I've also looked at the trend. So you've got that in combination with the momentum. You've got all of the technical analysis there, everything you could possibly need to know what's going on. And like I say, I even said, like, hard and fast dollar targets where prices go to. And like always, none of this is financial advice, but if it was, it'd be the best financial advice that you could get for free, would be. And then a testament to you guys is the fact that you donate so much and make it all worth like my while in terms of the effort I put in over and above, make it worth my while just by being nice people, but also the donations, which also helps. Thank you so much. And again, as you've probably noticed, all reinvested in the channel. Tradespotting, didn't see it. What's the question? I don't know. What was the question? Salamander, we failed before we started. It's true. It's true. It's too late. Too late. She cried in vain across the stormy waters. KT overcut you. Salamander, what's in the hookah today? Coffee. Come on, drink. Let's get a movie one. Lol. Daniel Assange, you slay me daily, bro. Daniel, killing it. He is a great contribution to this channel and Rocky's. I love his sense of humour. Tradespotting, making us learn chemistry too, I suppose. I should say thank you. Well, chemistry. Yes, I suppose you'd have to call it chemistry. And perhaps you'd be thinking about things like covalent bonds and whatnot, but that's not my... This wasn't the area I was going. I was more thinking about it in terms of physics. So say if you are a student of science and you know about that debate, like the people who like biology, if they've got a perspective, people like chemists have got their perspective, and then intelligent people, they come from the physics side of things. And so if that's you, props off, hats off to you, props for and if you're any of the other ones, what are you doing? Tradespotting, making us learn, that's it, you gotcha. AMA, MA days, any relation to fib levels? Well, relation to... You know, most people would give you a straight up no. There is actually a very complicated answer within that question, which would lead to like a sort of yes, maybe. But the better way to look at it is what are the implications for various moving averages reaching certain Fibonacci sequence levels, and on what time frame you'd like to see those happen at. That's very, very deep information that comes built upon lots of other understandings, at which point going into it in depth would probably be lacking in value for most people watching along. But I can tell you it's riveting information if you're up to speed with fibs and you understand all about the moving averages and you've got them worked out across all your different time frames. There are some interesting implications with using the two together, which is one of the reasons why the next segments that will be coming up, done by Rocky, which also form part of a course which will be sold eventually to everyone, cost approximately $1,000, but there'll be discounts on my birthdays and things like that, because I'm not interested in taking money off people. I just want it to be what it's worth and that. But like, you know, that's not the only way I'll be selling it, and I will make it available to people who can't afford it for that reason and whatnot. And it isn't about, it's definitely not a money grab. So, but it will be a course, and the other things all go into forming like parts of it. Once the production value of the videos have got to the top level that I can get them, and Yes, so that next segment's coming up are support and resistance, which I've featured heavily in today's video, so you can combine that segment when you see it with today's video. You'll be doing yourself a favour. The next one will be Fibonacci Sequences. That's what I'll be covering on a segment for Rocky Show, and it'll be shown on this show and uploaded as a separate video for members on this channel. Then we're also going to cover other things, including the moving averages. Moving averages explained even better than Rocky did today in his show for this show's segment, and Fibonacci, and moving average trading strategies, double and triple, and also other indicators within that. You've already heard a lot from me. Had you looked, I've been around a while about the MACD and moving average convergence divergence. So if you combine that momentum indicator with the moving averages that Rocky's explained today, and in greater depth he's going to do more, you can look at other things like TRIX and fantastically profitable trading strategies, which all come from learning the basics properly, or you'll fuck it up. And so, you choose which of those two you want to do. Do it properly or take a shortcut and fuck it up. Totally up to you. Totally up to you. You're free to do that sort of thing if you want. No restrictions around here. The only rule about this cult is you have to be indoctrinated before you join, and you're perfectly welcome to leave at any time you want, which is a distinguishing factor between other cults, I expect. So don't stop me now. Don't stop me, because I'm having a good time. I'm having a good time. I'm not a cat. I'm with you on that. 1.563666696. Oh, 1.5 times 63. I'm not sure how you're formatting. That's interesting though. The 6 nines in particular. 63 hooks. But right, I have to go and use the bathroom. So generous with your knowledge. GME learns so much from you and the Rock. Yes, so like I say, these things are all going in on a course that costs money, and people can buy it because it'll teach them and they'll learn. It'll all be delivered in a way that comes with learning outcomes and a methodology for proceeding through the content, structured curriculum, along with feedback on how you've done at the end of it. And so there's loads of added value on top of the actual content itself. But as we progress through it, and that we don't want to necessarily put the learning outcomes and the benefit that it'll create in the world, we don't want to put that behind a paywall. So as and when we're going through creating things that will ultimately form part of the content that'll be the course, we can still put aspects of it that quite don't make the high production values or haven't been completely edited perfectly, and we can still put them out there and help everybody that helps us by just watching along and supporting us just by lurking and whatnot. And plenty of people out there have got a philosophy that they just will not refuse to pay for things that in advance and only pay for things afterwards, and those people just as much appreciated as anybody else. And then there's other people again who just want to take things for free and will never pay. And if they do good in the world, I also am really actually against that. I am, despite that it might be counterproductive for my own goals. It's still one of them, so I don't mind too much. It's confluence there. And as it happens overall, you're incredibly generous people. You're really nice people. There's a really positive culture here in the chat box and everywhere else that I see is on other YouTube channels, and that you're all real positive people. The ones that show up here all the time, there's really positive and helpful culture of people donating. Frank about that, you really are. It totally changes my life. That's the bottom line. Yesterday was the most successful day I've ever had on YouTube in that front. It was crazy. So thanks. What time is it? 162.00, and we've got 5 minutes till power hour. That's just enough time for me to get a cup of tea and use the bathroom super fast. So I'm going to go and do that. And thank you very much for bearing with me. Let's go down at smaller time frames so that everybody's engaged to a certain degree. You can see the degree of volume came in there. This is on GME, 161.97. Did we talk about the chances of it dropping down? You can see at that stage, bounced untested at 200, reclaimed the 50, dropped below it. Your 18's below the 50. It's come in itself and touched the 200 period. If it goes any lower, this is where it might aim for, but long before it gets there, it would have put in bullish divergence, especially if that comes in and accumulates anywhere above its own moving average, even on the 1 minute. Let's see it. If it can recover this, that would be very positive. This may be the best buy you've got until the end of the day right now. If not, then you're looking at 161.16. That's not particularly far away. And then below you're looking at high 150s again. Tradespotting support and resistance lines labels are helpful. They thank you. Great. Good. There's also support and resistance video, which I still need to improve upon, I noticed. And maybe I uploaded the wrong version because the one I was aiming to put out there, I spent time editing it down, making it good and concise and well worth your time, as I always try to do. You know, big fan of that quote. Dr. Johnson, I think, was the person who it's most attributed to. Sorry, sir, for writing such a long letter. I didn't have the time to write a short one, and that is the nature of being concise. It sometimes takes effort, and it reflects that you've thought about what you're going to say before the words have made it out of your mouth, which is, I think, paying your audience a great deal of respect. And while I try to do these streams very much in a conscious stream, no pun intended, and be as genuine and authentically myself as possible, I do try and think about the words that are about to come out of my mouth having previously occurred in my brain. So there is some filters and checks there, which are there exclusively because I respect and appreciate you. And if they slip, it's just because I'm getting more and more familiar with you. No disrespect intended. Thank you for sticking with me. Dick down origination. Rector. Appreciate you and Rocky. Learn a lot when you check other tickers later. Can you check naked and tell me how bullish it looks? Thanks. No problem, Rector. I'll do that in a power hour and go through all these other tickers. And if anybody there's got a list of them, what they are, if it's your moderator, Melods, thank you very much. If you're anyone else and has a list of them, to tell me. Tradespotting. Did anyone ever answer the question about why you use those EMAs? It's Fibonacci EMAs. That's what I thought. Nice guess. Observe thyself. No, the answer is because they're all magic atomic numbers. Similar reasoning why they are magic atomic numbers to why the Fibonacci sequences are what they are, but those two things are not connected to each other despite being connected to the cyclical nature of nature itself. How about that for profundity? The mix of conversation and philosophy, of facts and stories. Around here, you don't get it many places. You do get it in really well written books though. This shit's fucking awesome around here, by the way. Anyway, I'm going to go and use Yawn Bathroom, and I'll be back to join you shortly afterwards. Afterwards? Yes, that's what I said, afterwards. And in the meantime, I'm going to put on the show. The show? Well, I wanted to put on that segment, but it's not properly edited, so it's going to be on Mondays, in which case Monday's show is going to be absolutely blockbuster with the content that's coming out there. And I mean it, absolutely blockbuster. And if you weren't tuning in for the start, then this is your first time to listen to this song on this channel. It's the same one we played at the beginning, and it says a lot about this movement. I first heard this song from somebody who was a really good friend of mine put it on when I was really young, and was talking about the importance of being nice to people, and particularly he was talking about the importance of being nice to women as a man. And he was a young teenager at the time, and I thought it was inspirational. He was so nice at that age. I was a lot younger than him, and it's a good message for us too in our movement, like it really is. And just while I get the cup of tea ready, I want you all to do me a massive favour. If you haven't done this already, please do. This is a huge favour. If you haven't done this, please do this. go to Ronaldo Moreno's channel on YouTube and subscribe to this absolute angel of a human being. This is this song. He made this, and I think it absolutely sums up so much of what we're doing. I think it's a really good song. I listen to it every day in the shower. I've listened to it hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times. I really think that Ronaldo's an absolute legend. If you want to do a good deed today and you haven't done it yet, just go in and click and subscribe on his channel. It's a huge deal. He's only got 500 subscribers. He should have 5,000 minimum by now. I love the guy, and you'll love him too. Check out his music. This is a song from Ronaldo, which I think sums up so much of how we feel. And like I say, I sing it every single day. This is it, King Ray.
You've got your mind made up, ain't nothing to see. Wondering why I'm smiling, looking like I'm dumb money. See, I've earned my chips, screamed in pain, all the while fighting your denial like I don't have a seat at the game. I guess I'm deranged, but I'm gonna hold. I've been down much longer than you have been gone. Keep on paying no mind, I'm setting up mine. Best believe I know my hands are diamond, my future is shining. My hands are diamond, never bet against me. Yeah. All that money you spent to hedge your bet, but your mistake is my take from my play against your greed. See, I know you tried and conspired, your degenerate ways on full display. It's a shame how foolhardy. I guess I'm deranged, but I'm gonna hold. I've been down much longer than you have been gone. Keep throwing chips in, you know in the end this hand's deeper than your money. Fool, my hands are diamond, our future is shining. My hands are diamond, never bet against me. Yeah, my hands are diamond, my hands are diamond. I guess I'm deranged, but I'm gonna hold.
What a legend he is, Ronaldo. Please subscribe to Ronaldo's channel. This is what I'm saying. He's like absolute legend. You saw how good that song was. Did it all for free. Didn't get any money for doing it, obviously. Plus, he did it during lockdown, so he wasn't obviously getting the money he would normally get for doing his job. And he does all that. Absolute legend. And he's done it, and he's only got 500 subscribers, which is an absolute tragedy, because it means with the way YouTube works in that people can't, interact with his channel and do the same things. He doesn't have the same features that you would get on channels like this, just because he doesn't have the subscriber numbers yet. And he relies on people clicking the subscribe button of their own accord, because he's playing music when he's singing the songs and doing his own thing, and he puts that video up, and it's a music like the nature of it means that you can't say every 5 minutes, please hit subscribe, please like and whatnot. So then people won't when they would otherwise have done it if they'd remembered. So do guy a favour and do yourself a favour and definitely subscribe over there to Reynaldo. He's absolutely a brilliant guy too, and deserves every little kindness. Look at price action, huh? Does love bouncing off my lines. I have such lovely lines. They always seem to work. This one is important on the RSI because if price action bounces off this one, you know, where it previously did when our RSI was this low, price action bounces off it, yet the RSI itself, the strength of that trend, isn't as far down, then you'd suggest perhaps that's weakening that trend. And of course, then you're looking at things like divergence and you're thinking, well, does it bounce? And the chances of it bounce are higher than should it have been lower, you know, and the price action itself being lower, whereas it still might have lent itself to a bounce. So I know my picture of me isn't on screen, but you just have to put up with that because I'm slurping tea and trying to get it all done before breaking into the busy people clip. I'm missing a couple of those, it certainly is. I appreciate all of you, says Kim Robbins, $10. Thank you very much, that's really appreciated. Thank you, Kim.
Stand-up comedian.
Thank you, Kim. And I'll turn down desktop audio now, so there'll be no more alert noises as we do the TA, the run through of the TA. I know that so far I have to look at, and I'll make a note of them here, so that I've got it, because I'm not sure what moderators are around at the minute. I have to look at BlackBerry. What was it? Anyone else got anything else they wanted me to look at? BlackBerry, I remember there were other ones, but I don't know if they came with dominations or what it is with that, and obviously those would take priority. Daniel, here's a fire for an adult diaper fund so that you can stream longer and more continuously. Hey, good shout, Daniel. That's a really good idea. That was a great idea. I was thinking of getting a catheter fitted just for convenience, but that would be a good stopgap. Though nappies do get expensive. Or so I've heard. Appreciate you and Rocky, thank you very much. And what else have I missed? Oh, there's Case, BB and Naked, of course. And Naked, well, I don't even really need a list if that's as big as it got. Easy peasy. Lemon squeezy. GME squeezy. Someone asked for Naked. Well, I can definitely do that. I'm also going to have a look at Rolls Royce because of the fact that I've got a lot of it, and I've got other things that I've also got trades on which I took after doing TA there last week sometime. At, I'll also happily look at at as well for that same reason. PLTR, of course, Paul, I shall. The more I do, the less time I'll be able to spend on each, but just happily whap in some more if there are others, especially if you're a channel member and that. Thoughts on upcoming GME earnings? Well, my thoughts about upcoming earnings, Drew, are essentially when GME announce their earnings, they'll probably likely already have an idea and at the same time announce something with regards to the dividend. When they announce that, the important part of it is the record date, as and when you will be able to claim a dividend if you held shares on a specific date. That date is not the same as the date that reward, that dividend, is given out for holding those shares. The dates are different, right? There are different dates. The day that the dividend is distributed is not the same day as the record date, and the record date itself is when you need to be holding the shares. So ahead of that event, there will be a scramble to get them because there will never have been a dividend play with as much attention in the history of the stock market, I suspect. And that's regardless of whether or not there is an NFT or crypto dividend. Just the fact that there'll be one alone and that it's potential that there will be one will have an effect on speculation, and speculation is what drives prices. So I'm really looking forward to that earnings date, no matter what the actual figures are, as long as they don't somehow add up to an earnings per share loss that a total loss of greater than the $1 billion they've got in the bank, because it's via having no debt and especially having such a huge advantage when it comes to liquidity. it means that they're able to do what they really deem is sensible with that money, either return it to shareholders in some form, because of course, although the company itself distributes the shares, it's the shareholders that benefit from any dividend or any disbursement of funds thereof goes to the shareholders, should it be done via dividend. As such, it's not out of the question that they would raise money as a company via selling shares and then distribute that raise to those shareholders. That's also very, very possible, and happens commonly in very various mechanisms. And so I expect that earnings, regardless of what the figures are, will be positive. There'll be positive figures in relative to what they've been like over the past 24 months. If it's a continued uptrend from the previous earnings call, then I'd say fantastic. That's even better news. Typically, for a trader, if earnings exceed expectations by upwards or below 10%, that would have a significant and immediate effect on a trader's position with regards to that stock. The extent to which it might change its percentage value, or the range of it might move, would be defined by its own characteristics in the run up to that event, and that itself would be subject to event-based psychology. So it's a good idea to have an understanding of that, and I have a very comprehensive and reasonably entertaining video on event psychology on the channel, which I think everybody should watch. It doesn't get that many views, but it's really good. Like, it's entertaining, and if you just want to watch something on YouTube, it's like that, you learn through the entertaining aspect of it. It's very different from how you might learn TA. It's one of those videos that's well worth a watch, so check it out. Wish, if you have time, says Jen. So I've got that. I'll add that on with what else have people said. See. Because atomic numbers. Observe thyself. Thank you so much. You're very generous and it really helps. Thank you so much. Don't forget real Tradespotting. Real HVBT, you're asking again, so I'll have a look at it. HVBT, my friend, no problem. B Jeezy, no problem. And A Shaw says PLTR, got you on that. Eddie B, hey, let's get naked and rolls on the MMATs. Let's get naked and rolls on the MATs. Let's do it. I'm not a cat, you and me. It's a date. Right. I've not done anything stupid like mute myself in this whole process. Okay, positives. That's positive. So we've got a whole list there. And Shane, thank you very much. HV naked, H bar, wish. I've not got those on. H bar, wish, and Royce is what we're calling Rolls Royce, because you guys are all buying it and that. So I'll have a brief look at both of them. CEY. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10. That's quite a lot. 10. It's quite a lot, but we shall try it. And how long do we have to do these 10 before market close? If we started right now, we'd have 40 minutes, so that would give us 4 minutes each. Plus, I've got to do a clip for Busy Apes, which will last about 15 minutes. Or less, which I'll probably do just around market close or just beforehand, because it's good to see market close as part of that. So let's say that gives me 3 minutes each. One. Learning entirely too much time this week, Jamie. Streams have been amazing. Here's my tuition for today. Jen Campbell, $9.99. Thank you very much, Jen. Thank you. It's appreciated. Tears. And you're very welcome. So I've got 3 minutes for each, which gives me enough time to do that and do Busy Ape section. Okay, we can manage that. We can, but I'll need to top up my tea. Right, here comes BB, Naked, Rolls Royce, Metamaterials, PLTR, Real HVBT, H bar, WI, SH. Okay, those are the tickers, 10 of them. 10 of them. Right, got to stretch my legs and then get myself on the blocks, ready, steady, go and whatnot. And we're back and refreshed. What came in there? Some donation came in. I heard it in the background. Appreciate you and Rocky learning. Oh, well, that was way back. You are not as bad as people say. You are much, much worse, you bunch of legendary fannies. Hey, you're not. You're much, much, much worse. So we dropped below that line on the minute. We're on GME here. Let's quickly look at that. RSI didn't get as low. Price got lower. If then prices turn around and go back up again, you define that as bullish to the degree you could take it from this high or this one. We'll first take it from this one and we'll see in those scenario prices would need to get above 151, and then you'd say this was a local low, and you would say it was then define it as a low. You'd be able to then pull your divergence into the equation. Until then you're looking at the fact that the DMI says you're in a downtrend and you've got a lower low with a lower high. So is this M at the top, you know, opposite of W, where you've got the divergence that confirms it, and then in which case you might come in and test lower supports. These are the lines that are important. This 157, high 150s, that's the important area of support there. There's smaller fibs within that. Areas at 159 spot 22 down to 158 spot 83 may be the golden pocket retracement on this. Is where you get your next high or low, but you want to see it persist above 158, and ideally it would recover 161 spot 19 in sharp order, and then again back up at 161 spot 51 and start opening closing levels in there. But because there's only so much time left on the day, you're not going to get a significant candle close there unless it starts moving up higher soon. And at the top side 164, well, that's quite a way away at the minute, and we'd need to see a significant amount of volume coming in. It's not very clear on the charts, but it is there, and it's like insignificant. So that's a quick touch on GME. Right, we're going to look at these. BB below the 236. Let's start on lower time frames, and we'll go the T that way. You've got a negative cross, Blackberry TA. You've got negative cross on your 50 and 200 period moving average on the 15-minute time frame. You've broken below this potential inverted head and shoulders. This reversal that you were hoping for on this hasn't quite happened yet. You can see that you're putting in what may be considered to be a series of higher lows, apart from one itself which was bullishly divergent should this be an uptrend, which it would have been looking like when we were persisting above the 236 Fibonacci retracement on this, which comes in at approximately $10.62. So bouncing back up and getting above there would be significant. It's potentially still got lots of things on the go here. You just want to see it hold above certain levels. Those levels are in and around those body closes in that wick at 9 spot 70, and down below there you're really looking for it to hold there. If it doesn't, that's looking left as significant support in this area. If it doesn't, then you'd probably look to Fibonacci level, maybe even a Fibonacci extension from this move on your left up to this high on the right. You'd see the 886, that would be the next potential low. It's also confluent with this area on the breakout and support here on Blackberry. So below you're looking at 8 spot 55. Ideally it wouldn't go any lower than 9 spot 70, and the area you want to see above is 1062, and when it does open and close significant time frames, and let's just jump up to the 4 hour and show you that it hasn't actually done 4 hours open and closes above the 236 yet, and when it does your next target is up at the 618 on that same fib. That could still be a lower high, it could still be confluent with this trend here. We'll take it from the wick on this purple candle rather than this huge wick that was all wick. Such a high percentage of that was wick that we can't really rely on it for very much. But we can take that intersection, we can take that second wick high, and we can say that even within that move, should it jump there all of a sudden, you still wouldn't have broken your overall trend. It looks very, very possible it would define this as some sort of ascending triangle in and of itself. It may look to be with your wick and isosceles and your bottom line coming in somewhere around here. There's 3 touches that are very significant. That would suggest that your breakout comes in and around what's going on with these dates? It's very difficult to see them with this panel in the way. Aha, here we go. That would mean you're coming in around before the end of the year in November, December or whatever. Even without any sort of a squeeze or market dynamics, you'd expect to see this up and above approximately 50% increase in price from where it is at the minute, and that's before it breaks out of this formation. Should it do that, measured move on this is huge, and so I'd be looking for a trade on this that lasted, you know, here's a really good area of support to enter on this. BlackBerry's a really good buy at the minute. If this is your thesis, your measured move takes you back to your previous high at around $28. That's an increase of 300% where you are at the minute. Fantastic trade there on BlackBerry. You've got obvious areas for stop losses below you. We talked about those. We talked about really good entries. We talked about how, you know, much of a muchness in entering now is a good decision. Perhaps, not financial advice, but this is how we like to trade. Say you get that lower entry. Now I'd say even like my trading style would allow me to take this one that we're already at the minute, but let's say you take it from there, and let's say you define your stop losses below that market structure low here, 782. You give yourself a risk reward of 18 to 1. That's incredible considering the signals that you've got given off at the same time. And there are tighter areas to manage a stop. There are also, as I say, different areas to enter there, but that's a clear TA and a good option on BB. Also, next up is Naked. So checking out Naked, got it here. Starting on again on 15-minute time frame. You can see it's similar. It's not managed to break this formation. It's been in it for a considerably long period of time. I know we're on the 15 minutes, but you can see that you've bounced between this level and at around 0.47, and on the top side you've got at the extreme 0.85, and then below there at 0.77, and 0.77 has formed a very significant level for this thing in terms of breakdowns. Wick highs, 3 in a row there. Above that was anomalous. Again, a breakdown. Didn't quite reach it there, but it started. This breakdown here was continued and does persist until now. So you would have expected that along with this test. This breakout of it's very significant. A retest of this formation is not to be discounted. It could have been that before what you were looking at on this was a channel, right? This is a downward sloping channel. It's equidistant from top to bottom the whole way down. It follows a diagonal. It was and has, as commonly is, that these things, channels, commonly turn into wedges. They can do it in a variety of ways, and it'll have implications for future price action. This has turned into one while putting in an inverted head and shoulders. It's done it at an ultimate low on price action. This is a reversal pattern. That reversal has taken you outside what was a downward sloping resistance line. A demand line has then conquered the supply in this sense. You've come up, touched a significant Fibonacci on the formation that price action has put in most recently, are coming down now, testing that again, that horizontal level that you broke out up from, that shoulder on your head and shoulders, and a retest of this downward sloping price action, and a retest of that area which was formerly resistance, now hopefully turning into support. And again, this presenting an excellent buy-in opportunity for people with really low risk, easily manage your risk at these different horizontals left and right, and at around 0.5, then down again at around 0.491, and then you've got another option of doing it at like less than 4.7, just under 4.76, that sort of area. There's really obvious areas to manage risk. You might think that's a big percentage move, but with regards to, there might be your entry. Now again, it might have already happened. Oops, that's not what I wanted to take there. I wanted to take a long position. That's this button. So let's say you take it now, actually, because you've got also other areas below, and this is just a simple trade setup. I'd actually suggest that you keep an eye on this one and maybe enter at different areas, but you've got very, very simple area of managing your risk there. Top side targets on this one. If you do break out of this Fibonacci and get above the 618, and there's your first area to take profits at, and even that's a 5-to-1 trade, right? That's a fantastic 5-to-1 trade. It could come when your RSI is at historical lows, is putting in. Is that bullish or bearish? You couldn't define it until it's got back above this 236. That's at 53320 or thereabouts. 5134 it tells me on this, but I'd want a little bit extra on that because of the nature of the RSI. But as and when that happens, that would be very positive. And this would be your trade, right? You've got an area where you can take stop loss. I'm not sure how successful this is likely to be. Haven't looked at it just briefly and only really touched on the 15 minutes, but we'll go up and cover that in a minute through the time frames, and you can make your own mind up about what trades you take. None of this is financial advice. If you break that 618, you're looking at a Fibonacci extension of around 1414. That comes in at around 0.636 or 0.64. Further extension up at the 2414 would be 0.575, which again is well below that 0.8 and 0.77, which we outlined at the start as being very important levels of resistance for this. In this move here, was it a channel, was it a wedge? Well, if it was a channel, the measured move out of it is something like this, and if you drop it on there, you'd see that takes you above the 1414, above the 1618, and up to your horizontal support on the looking left at 0.6921. And that's the sort of area that I'd be aiming to keep some profit on the something on the meat on the bone until that point, because you never know where it can go, and you could follow this with a stop loss if it gets into profit. And the first place I'd pick that to if prices broke above would be 0.5715. If you opened and closed a 4 hour above that level, and then subsequent ones were even higher, then I'd move my stop loss up to 0.56 and then follow that trade as it broke through support and resistance, because that's one move. On the slightly smaller scale, if this is your wedge and you're talking about it from broken from there to here, then your measured move on this takes you to, there was the breakout zone. You're still not completed all of that. You'd expect prices to get up to around 0.59997 or 0.6 off that side of things, and that's not all that optimistic really. It's a 60% of this other move, so that's very likely that happens should you break upwards. It's also where you would see prices go if they were then to then come back and retest the 618. Gives you a little bit of headroom. That's all very possible. And overall, this thing, although we're on the 15 minutes, if you check it on a 1 hour, what you can see is that when this sort of thing happens on price action, the channel breaks down, or the channel itself persists, but the price action breaks out of this wedge to the bottom side, then recovers within it and stays at a higher low than previous, which so far is what's happened. And then you break out the top side of this channel. This is what would people, but Polkowski would say, is like a bump and run bottom, and it is also a reversal pattern that comes at the downside of a trend, and it may well be that that starts price action moving upwards, and the measured move on things like that will take you back up to 0.83, where you'll have a really strong test. But it would be interesting to see price action, see how it handles that. You could also say that because that's so ambitious, maybe you take this breakdown area and you touch that previous high, you come across here, and perhaps that happens in and around the end of September or something. And that's not all that crazy to imagine that happening. If you did take that whole trade and managed to hold like even a portion of it up to in and around those levels, you'd be looking at something in the region of a get the fuck out of my garden trade, and that, you know, that'll more than pay your bills, that one. So that's naked. And then RR, yes, here we are, here we go. What's the time? I've got 35 minutes past. I'm taking too long on each one. Don't have it on the chat list, I've got it on my own one, so let me get it out of debt. Let me get it from here. R. Where's it gone? Haha. Rolls-Royce Holdings PLC. So this is the ticker which is traded on the London Stock Exchange. It's not the car company, it's the marine energy, the defence sector, energy, and what else? The aerospace and engineering. This is the company we're talking about here. Your move on this has been fucking fantastic. Here was your entry, you didn't drop through your stop loss, you're already up flying on this thing. This is amazing, this move. Who gave you this trade? Me. You're up £1.62 today, which is 1.48% on price action. This is leading the way on the FTSE in so many respects. It's had great earnings recently. It's come in on 15 minutes. A very strong uptrend. At the edge of this, you've put in a degree of bullish divergence. It may well be that people have taken profit. This green line here, £110. That's significant. If price action breaks above it, you could easily take profit on your trade here and re-enter should it drop back down again. That was a fantastic, fucking amazing trade. And congratulations to everybody. You could also be aiming for the top of it and keep something on there at 117.52 and finish it with follow it with a stop loss. But there's nothing really to worry about when you're above the 200 period moving average on the 15-minute time frame. Nothing to worry about. Though you would have to say that there is a gotcha of divergence on the RSI, and that the trend has weakened according to the DMI. So this may well be a take profit zone. Seems well very much like it has been for some people. That would be an area to do that. No need to hodl this thing. And then you may even get a better entry on it. And so far that was a 15-1 trade. You've had the vast majority of it. That's life-changing money for some people who commit to these things with, like, you know, say you've got a massive portfolio, you've got a really top stop loss there, you're hardly going to lose all that much on this entry. And I told people to buy it down here, right? In fact, I told people to buy it all over the fucking shop down here. I told people to buy this thing when it was down at this green line, down at £73. And as you see now, it's up at here at 111. So, you know, where hopes and dreams meet ends and means. So top of this channel comes in at $118. Could well go up there. That's your horizontal that you're looking to. It's already putting a touch of divergence. It's historical level on the RSI. It's done it before, even within this move, where it's then put in a lower high on the RSI, but the subsequent low has been caught by these moving averages themselves. Have been, you know, it just takes absolutely nothing to drive the trend down, but the price itself hardly moves. So hardly anyone's trying to go short on this. It's all about people taking profit, and so you might likely miss retracements, and you're already there. So it's up to you how you want to trade it. It's up to you and how long you'll think of holding this, and then that'll partly be defined by where you think your targets are on it, and that. But there are areas where you reduce your risk and, you know, you compound your gains, and over time that makes more money than holding for the ultimate moves. And the ultimate moves on this one, if it should just break upwards on this formation it's putting at the minute, which itself could be a descending triangle, but like when you put that in context of what we're looking at, that's like on the right hand side of an inverted head and shoulders on a bigger time frame. That's more obvious. So this low, this historical low, this test of support down here, end of that being bullishly divergent quite sharply, you should at least expect it to test its previous highs on the horizontal. Could easily go on, and we'll see what happens. It's likely to accumulate either where it is at the minute or above. Should it go down again, there's significant levels where you'd be able to get entries at the 200 periods at £104. Then down at $100, you've got the 50 period moving average. So really interesting areas in that. And Rolls-Royce looking good. Could be that everything we look at in this channel starts doing really well over the next wee while. That would be really positive and great to see, and happy for all you guys if it is. Let's look at briefly Royce there. Where is it? It's not on this one. Should be. There it is. Do we see anything different? Well, there's been a lower here. 120, 131. Partly influenced this by the change in currency. The currency conversion you need for the American holdings, but still it's the same thing. It's going in the same way with regards to how the chart will perform. You're on the 4 hours there, but let's drop down to the 15 minutes. You can see still similar situation, uptrend. Let's put in a divergent right hand side now to this. That was a good effort there. Historical level of the RSI on this thing higher than it was on the left, but your RSI is also higher. It's good, it's positive. It's holding the 200 though. I would look to this and say these are the areas of support below, in at 140. Down again, where would you define that? It would have to be this high and this low, so 132, and that's where I'd expect this to provide good re-entry should it drop down, because this seems to be a trending move, and as I say, it seems to have turned a corner with regards to the other formation it's in different timelines. So we'll see, but I'm positive about Rolls Royce, very much so. Matt, quickly jumping straight to metamaterials. Down 5.79% today. The lowest risk entry thing on this is much lower. This formation is rolling over and consistently putting in lower highs, and every so often putting in lower lows. Has it turned a corner on the RSI? Not yet. You can see that this is looking slightly bearish on the RSI there. We can see trend in very much the trending control at the minute is the downside with the DI minus above 38 and a positive slope on your ADX. So the downtrend is in control. I'd expect this one to fail. What I've been calling on it's probably likely to happen. The retracement level in the Fibonacci at 0.5 is likely to be broken. Then you're looking at a 618. The bottom end of that golden pocket is where this trade seems to be coming in. 0.65 retracement, that's at $1.72. That's where I'm saying the entry to this is, with a stop way down there at $1.28. And then with an upside target on this to try and test, well, is this level going to break? That's Fibonacci. Yes, looks like it will. And if it then recovers that, well, that's your 0.5 there, but that won't be it. If it breaks down, then this ultimately will come down. If that trade was successful, in 236 retracement of it would be up at 311. So there is a bounce that's potentially coming in at around 169 and 170, and that could take you back up to at least your breakdown level and support and resistance there from previously at 2.52. And that's a significant move in and of itself. Your 236 at 311, and if you reclaim that, then you'd be looking up at the 618 at $8.26. That's a huge move, but then a lot of this is speculative. That Fibonacci itself is entirely so. This potential entry is based off a higher time frame, open and close, and this Fibonacci on the uptrend previous to it on the 4 hour. You can see that you've put in these higher highs. This is still a higher low. Should it turn around here, that'd be fantastic. It just seems to be so very weak on the RSI. I know that it does seem like maybe that's got a positive slope and it has managed to make it out of the bearish control zone, and if it reaccumulates above it, that's very positive, but this doesn't look good. Daily really doesn't look good, you know. Like you can see it here, like everything up here seems to be indicative of this big gap below, and it's failed that trend line that was carrying it up throughout its rise. So let's see if there is some price action here. Let's see. Still, you know, that's your entry on that. Looks good from here. Measured move on this, if it proves to be a head and shoulders though, would be very different. So I'd keep an eye on price action. It'd have to go there now without putting in a higher low. Should it do, this trade would be invalid because it could come up, put in a right sort of shoulder. At that point then you'd be looking at a measured move from what seems to be right on the RSI is something. I mean, this isn't even physically possible. This is not mathematically won't be possible with regards to price, but yeah, if this whole thing fails. Well, that measured move obviously doesn't work on the log charts, but you know, be careful, right? Because it could go to minus $8.12 according to that stupid line. Truth is, it could then, what that really means, because that's not possible, what that really actually means though is it could have a big drop down, and you'd look to previous levels of historical support if it did happen, if it didn't hold the 618, and if it did go up before that and touch a lower high and come back down again and form head and shoulders, you'd be worried. So you've got to be careful with this thing. You have to be careful trading this thing. And then on those 15 minutes, if that means you want to get out of it, where do you get out of it? Well, you've got your stop losses. You've got obvious areas where you don't want it to drop below. It's here on your horizontals. Also your Fibonacci on the left at your $0.53. Spot 05. That's the important part below there. Good luck to you, Meta Materials. What time are we at? It is 46 minutes, so I've got 14 minutes left. Now PLTR. I'm going to have to speed things up. So first off, I'm just going to check that. Close enough is near enough on this one, especially with the volume indicating a trend change. I'd say that there's not really a significant gap on this thing. There's the lower level, though it would form support if price got there, you would imagine, on that thing, because when you look left, it's this peak, it's this peak, it's these divergent tops peak, and it's where this broke up, it was significant, broke down, it was where it's significant, and then it was obviously hugely significant with regards to that gap on that time frame. Positive splay and price action consolidating at higher levels of support on this time frame are positive. Looking left, you can see it's a good recovery considering what went on down below. You had divergence here. This is really quite predictable, that move up to there. OG, welcome to Chimp. Thank you so much, OG. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I get the sound notification. Thanks. So yeah, this is consolidating at this level. That's quite positive. If it holds that 18 period moving average, that's even better. I don't think the gap below is significant. I think the volume represents a trend in change. Either that or it's people having cashed out. You'll see, based on the strength of the retracement, I would say, where's your low? There. This is your high, your 236. It's come in and touched it once at 24.38. Since then, you've had not enough strength. It's definitely a no trade zone. Could easily come back down to 382. That would be testing this area of this breakdown so much to your left. So many different areas. Having broke through it and put in that, people are going to ask the question. 23.55. People are going to say, can that hold price, and is it a good entry? Below that, you'd have to look to this series of lower highs. I know we're on these low time frames, but let's see if that trend continues. Alternatively, what's going along this left? Does it come in before that as well? Yes, yes, and yes. 1, 2, 3. High or low? Most of the way up. Does it? How much does this constitute? 618 has gone through the golden pocket, went beyond that area, tested this mini high here above. That's this one here is where you're looking to. I don't think this is an entry. If you're already in it, you'd be following it with stop losses and you'd be keeping them somewhere below 24, 23.95, something like that. If you're already in the trade, if you're looking to enter, your next one's 23.50 below, and then a really good entry and touches this lower level of this demand line at around 22.70. It'd be a 618 retrace on this little move here. Should that be our local high of this move out of this, that's fine. It would look like a cup and handle if it got down as far as 23.10. At that point, if it bounces, you'd also be in around a 200 period moving average. If it then recovers above the 50 period, I'd say this is going up and the cup and handle move off this. If it is like an inverted head and shoulders at the bottom of a trend, if it does manage to break out the top level of support resistance above here at your $27, then you'll have a huge move, which may lead into others. The first one, you'd be looking to is, say that comes at the 0.5 and does it that way. Is there enough time on this? 11th of August. May take a while to go across then. 18th of August, say it happens. Say that drop down there takes until second half of August, then you'd have your 7 weeks and it would conform properly with a cup and handle. The low side of this is a good U shape. It's not too dramatic and it is a reversal pattern. It's just not perfect over a long term time frame, but it does work on this one. You'd be looking at 27 as the top side and you'd be looking at your entries in around 22. Could then follow it with a stop loss, so that's your long position there, that's your entries at the top of that golden pocket, perhaps even slightly higher, but we'll put it there and we'll say that's your first area of where you'd wonder about things. You can take this left horizontal to be where your stop loss would go. You get a good 10 to 1 on that trade and you can follow it up and it might turn into something spectacular. In a 4 hour you can see, yep, perhaps this is a bull flag of some description. I don't like the divergence on that. So that constitutes a dead retrace though. That's not an inverted head and shoulders, really. Can't stick that on at the top of this trend here. But then this hasn't been fucking around long enough. Me doing all that TA on something that's only been around for the same amount of time would take you to learn what I just talked about. You see, there's a discrepancy there. You know, if you wanted to learn how to properly do all the things I've talked about since I opened up this chart, it would likely have taken you from September 2020 until now to get really, really good at those things, which is the same amount of time this entire thing has existed for on the charts here. So how reliable is it? I don't know. It's less reliable than the TA would be in general, and that would be something to take from that. But there is everything you're likely to get on Peter from me. Real. I got this. You see, you're lucky you snuck that one in because it's not on my thing. I've never looked at it before, and now that means I'm not going to be able to give you as good tea, and or I'm going to have to spend more time on it, but I don't have the time, so that's not the sacrifice I can make. There it is. It's added here. It's now on chat request because I've had a chat request for it. Add to chat requests. Oh, there it is already. That's because I added it when I was on that. Oh, the nightmare scenario already. Although this could still go further. Your RSI says it probably will. Although this leg of it maybe not, but it says it's screwed. You've got your volume coming through there once, twice. That's not starting volume because the trend then didn't go on to change. People don't like this at the minute. I'm on the daily time frame. You can see that looks brutal, right? There's a brutal, horrible top there. It's like a failed recovery. I haven't broke through this. It did the measured move off of inverted head and shoulders. This is in a downtrend. What the fuck? Am I also looking at something that's just been invented? I am, haven't I? Why are you guys all asking about shite things that only just existed? Right, so it was started, it opened at $30. The people that invested in this before it was you were able to invest in it, have since been dumping on you the entire time, especially when it gets in and around anywhere near the price that you were first able to buy it at. They themselves may be buying it here. I mean, you can tell that there's extremely good reasons to buy it at this low with regards to what it says on your RSI, its historical lows, and the fact it was like extremely loud divergence. But it came back up, tested the death cross, which is what this is on a daily time frame, and every time it's had there was a positive golden cross that took the prices back up from $13 to 30, so 100% price rise on the golden cross. It's now having a death cross. It's tested it, it's confirmed it, it's come through. The follow through price action is so far taken to your previous low. The RSI says that it could go much lower. I'd be looking at this to come in and test its all-time low at $5.49, at which point I'd probably look to buy it and see where the bounce took you. But it looks fucked. If you wanted to go along in it, you've got plenty of areas quite close below you for stop losses, but I wouldn't. Because the people who own this, the board members, sold the shares and let investors into this who dump on you, their future shareholders who they need to run the business. So why are the people who started companies like this dumping on you, the retail investor, and and doing their own, people who gave them money to start the thing, a favour in the first place. Is all of that indicative of something that you think's unethical, perhaps not the best company to invest in? How do you feel about it as a trader, interacting with charts and markets in this way and improving your own skills to be like deliver self-empowerment? How do you feel about the world you live in when the people who turn it are such a bunch of fucking bastards that they would let into their mechanism for improving the world, they would let people in who want to damage you, the normal retail investor? That's what this is. That's what this chart is. This fucking disgrace here. That's what that is. Or is it that they're so incompetent at running the business that those people who put wealth into it lose it through their own malpractice and shit levels of ability? Or what is it? Is it incompetence? Is it ignorance? What is it? You know, what are the world's new it's our market now. Are you going to live as a CEO and fuck people over like this? Not any fucking more. Not any fucking more. If it ever does turn into a goodbye, I'll tell you about it. The minute it's a real fucking joke. What the fuck, guys, eh? You start this company and that's your ambition, to do that to people. And then what? What's this? What are you doing now, huh? And what about all the money you got from your IPO? Where is it? Because you could buy this thing now if you believed in it. And then your shareholders wouldn't be fucked. Or is it because your business wouldn't derive you any value from that investment, yet you'd still want other people to do it? You scam artists. That's what I think of that. Deal with it, guys. Real. This is the real. This is the people that... Is this the real as in the retail group who sell vintage clothing? They verify and sell vintage clothing. That's who this company is. That's it. That's this company. Is that what this is? So, not only is everything I said previously true, that they exist in an insidious and exploitative industry. They hang on the coattails of high fashion, a disgustingly insidious industry that exploits people to the nth degree. And not only there, but they're then in the retail business where they flog these clothes, these second-hand clothes, and they tell you that they're providing value somewhere, and they scoop because they don't produce anything themselves. They're a worthless business that add little or no value. You could sell everything you sell in the real and elsewhere and probably do just as good and stop pushing their brand for the shareholders who do things like this to people. You probably could. You could probably avoid this thing. You know, you probably could. This isn't the sort of fucking thing I like. You know, everything I say is my own opinion. It all goes without prejudice, and none of it is financial advice. But who the fuck are these people to be making... Like, go fuck yourselves, eh? Who the fuck are you, the real? Like, I know who you are. That's the fucking problem. I know. Do something good in the fucking world. You've got one last chance or your fucking company's fucked. Right, markets have closed. That pissed me off so much. $162.50 GME closed above 162.50. Yes, you fucking beauty. That's what we wanted to see. I think that was positive. Any higher would have been even better, but that was good. That's what I wanted to see at least. Come and give me my actual zoomed in information, por favor. Made it back up to that 618 of that tiny fib. That was a really good move there from your 160s up to 162.50. Did I say that? Up at the 618, up at that golden pocket. And that trend there, positive move on your RSI. Good turn up and turn down on DMI. Yet to see anything from the ADX. Thanks Tradespotting, clipping that for Andy. He's going to love it because, yes, they are awful. Cool, good one. Thanks Katie babe. Yeah, they are a bit like... for various reasons they are. You know, it's like this is the way the world works nowadays. It's ours, right? It's ours. We decide. and that. And we know what pish is, and we're not fucking taking anymore. No, it didn't upset me. Oh, Drucky Upcrop, maybe send on there, and if I can use it, I'll find him. Whoa, what are we talking about? It's a test. It's a test. And officially, it's the weekend. Congratulations, we made it, everybody, through another day, another week. Fantastic, congratulations. I didn't get to something there. What did I miss on those 10? HVBT, H-bar, and Wish. HBVT. Watch list. HBBT. So I've looked at 4chat HIMS, I've looked at HOFV, and I've looked at vomit in your face D, but I've not yet looked at HVBT, so that's going to constitute a degree of work on my part. HVBT. Blockchain technologies, right, okay, well we can imagine what's going on here. Down 2.25% on the day. 50-minute time frame, lower highs there. Higher highs on your RSI, the last two there, so that's not negative. You come down, tested 200 again, having tested it once before though, that's not positive. Your 50 period turning down. Price action held below the 18 period. Go up to hourly, good recovery from this recent low. It's only been around so long. You can see obviously there that it's broken above its previous high. I'd want to see more than hourlies up here. It's down back again. Any sort of a retrace that tests this 50 period on the daily is probably an entry. That comes in at around 2.84. Below that you've got your golden pocket on the retracement. That would be a very good entry for some people. The bottom end of that comes in at around 2.68. Let's say that this fib is actually, you're saying it's obviously gone up here, so let's do this the right way around. Your 236, it's dropped below it once. This retrace didn't come above previous highs, that's a lower high. This will come down again, it'll test either that 50 period moving average, or more likely it'll come in at this golden pocket of your previous fib, that's a 382, and then you'd say, well, maybe it comes even further, and you see it down at the 0.5. I wouldn't be looking to go long on this. I wouldn't put in a long position and wait for it. I'd look for it at the 0.5, see how it was performing. It's just giving you a 200, so it likely bounces at that. That's 618, just above it on the left is where that'll be, should the prices take that a wee while to get there. Let's say, what, a week or two, maybe more, then it'll definitely be up here. And that is appeared below price actions positive, that there has, it is existing below the 250 is positive. So look at that at the time. It's just this has been so divergent all the way through this move that it should come back and test significant areas. 0.5, and actually I'd look for on this, an entry on this, I would look for is 2.33. And if that fails, you could try again at 2.15. Oh, Amanda, 1999. Oh, cool wee sticker. I haven't seen that guy before. That's first. Number one. Thanks, Amanda. That's really appreciated. So the entry I'd be looking at is on this is way below. I mean, there's other areas where it might stop at. This 618 here at $2.64, where a lot of people will buy it and it'll probably bounce. It'll be a touch over the 200 and it'll go up. You could take that. It'd be an intraday trade probably, or a day trade, and it would last a number of days. But that's that. If you're looking at this less often and you're just putting in a trade and you don't want to have to pay attention, you've got lots of other options on the table, then that's your retrace. And there's your entry somewhere around there. There's your horizontal on the left. If you drop below the 236, give yourself a massive risk reward, or a massive stop loss area, which you wouldn't need necessarily. You've got areas to take profit on that. The first one up at your 236 would be a 3-to-1 trade. I don't know if I'd take that. If this is like a set and forget thing, I wouldn't. Something this young, it's too hard to do that anyway, so I'd be paying attention. But your targets that you're aiming for, if it does catch there and you're holding it for a while, $4, and getting in there around 233, sat and holding it till 4, maybe that works out okay. I don't know what instrument you trade this on, with it being around so new. I don't know, you tell me. But that's what I'd say about that, and I'll add that to the watch list so we've looked at it now and I'll be able to do it in future with those things in mind. And then the last one that I never got round to yet was, nope, there's two more, H bar and Wish. Wish I've done before, H bar I've not. Hashgraph, Binance. You want me to look at a cryptocurrency? Then it'll have to be against Tether and on Binance, if that's what this is, which I imagine it is. Right, I'm not seeing anything else jump out at me. H bar is a hash graph. Okay. Okay, it's funny. Right, so I'll add this as a chat request. It's H bar. Is that H bar? Have I spelled that correctly? HBAR, yeah, USDT. That's what I'm doing now. HVBT is the Ethereum mining company, so it lends to move with crypto. Cool. That the one we just went from. I thought that when first saw it, but also there are different dynamics. But that tours, that's interesting. No, did you PayPal work? Lol. It probably did, but I haven't. But don't. Yes. Oh my goodness, and it's Batman Pajama, so I can imagine what's going to happen in the background here. Will have worked. Batman Pajama. It will have worked. It always does. I see after it when I go on there on PayPal afterwards, and this isn't showing up on the screen, is it? No. When I go afterwards and see it, and I see people have donated PayPal, I'm like, wow, amazing. Don't know how to make it show up on the alerts thing. I have to have a look at that. But yes, it will have worked. Let me see. Oh, geez, I see it there. Big whapping $200 or more. It's £195 just come in. No, £162.50 from Justin Forby has come in. That's come in from Justin Forby, $162.50. Holy McSugars. And Bruce Collins as well, and Latoya Baker. Is that all today? Thank you so much. Frickin' awesome. And I've had loads of people be dead nice to me that way, and there's lower fees via PayPal, so if you do donate via way, it's really appreciated. Don't get your name on screen right now, but it is better for fee-wise for everybody. Thanks so much. Bam Jam, I don't see your one there, but then maybe I don't know when that happened. That's 2104 and price is 2104. Times 20, that's 4 minutes ago, so I don't see it. Imagine I'd been put that, but then if some people are doing it, then that is the right details I've got in there, so something's working. Thank you so much, everybody who donates and supports the channel like that. It's really appreciated. I don't see it there at the minute, but the details I put in are correct, so I'm okay on that front. And then, how are you, Bad Mama Jamma? You, haha, shh, that's not me. No, it's not you. That was somebody else. Oh, Sugars. I shouldn't have maybe read out the name there. Did I read out the name? Somebody who supported the channel. Anyway, I didn't identify them with their username, so I haven't done anything that bad. I hope I haven't said anybody. Sugars. Maybe people donate through PayPal because they don't want their name to show up. I don't know. Anyway, I'm not articulating this well, says Sensory Hoax. What are you not articulating well? Tradespotting, how awesome to see GME close above the max pain for the first time since the share offering. Grizzled Primate, you are correct on that one. Good to see you, my friend. Welcome back. Yes, it is. It's a very good day. It went right to where we said it would too, which we love here. We love seeing that. Also, yeah, it's closing above max pain's fucking awesome. It's good. Like 62.50 was good. It's where we wanted to see it. Even better would have been 66.50. Then you'd be completely crushed them on the liquidity fight we had there. We still won it. And that and stuff those guys. Woohoo! Yeah, I like it, and it'll lead to more buying pressure, hopefully, with that cyclical nature of these options expiries. Obviously, it's not the most important one of the month, but it is significant with regards to the cyclical nature of that T plus whatchamacallits. Bitcoin doing a massive green right now. Okay, let's quickly look at that H bar USDT and then go sum up the TA for busy people, because I've still got lots of work to do, you know. I'm Justin. Bad Mama Jamma. You're Justin. I'm Justin. You're Justin. Bye bye pajama Justin. Thank you, brother Justin. I always wanted a brother called Justin, and now I've got one. Thanks, bye bye pajama, you legend. Have a good weekend from the Scouse Sassenach. Scouse Sassenach. You too, that Dan. Thank you very much, that Dan. I see you know what price the GME is going to based on that picture of your icon there. I see you already know. Bad Mama Jama, I'm Justin. Thank you, Justin. Thank you, Bad Mama Jama. Legend. And you're so good to Rocky, and you're so good, frickin' do anything for you, mate. You're a legend. I'm going to get Bad Mama Jama a golf course in Scotland after the Moas. And we invented golf. Scotland invented golf. We're like, how can we ruin a walk? Well, we could do it like this. So, Bad Mama Jama loves it. We're going to get him one. Right. Looking at this, you can see from its low. Have I already done this? I feel like I have now already. Done this somehow. H bar USDT. It's come up there. You tested your 236. Haven't gone beyond it. I failed there, but it's higher or low. It was also let's start on 15 minutes. See what it's doing right now. Holding the 50 period, but there's a negative slope on those two. It's put in lower highs. It's put in a divergent high most recently, and then lower highs since. This is a good move up, but I don't trust it for shit. That right hand side of this, there was divergence. Nope. Just inverted head and shoulders. That was messy and still worked. It's holding that 236 was important, and because it's in a long-term uptrend, it still had enthusiasm, and the trend had momentum until that most recent high. This is a bounce off the 50 period on hourly, which itself is a consistent uptrend and mirrors 200. I see that's positive, and this isn't completely out of the nature of this thing and its move. It's been going up, and despite weakening in that strength is still defeating the downside. Tradespotting, Toll Brothers, please thanks, curious about the effects of their news. TOL. I can't do anymore. I'm dying from doing these things. Tradespotting, just watched your fib retracement video. Good on you. That was great. It is. Thanks for all the great knowledge. You're totally welcome, my friend Brendan. If you still have time, can you please do a quick recap on Rolls Royce 2? Thanks in advance. I've done one on Rolls Royce, mate. Done one. Really good quick recap on Rolls Royce there a few minutes ago, and then touched on Royce. So it'll either be in the chapter after, or you can scroll back 12 minutes or something like that. You'll find it. The ticker will show up. Or will it? I don't know. You'll see it because it'll be the one that costs like $1, £1, 11 cents. And when you see that on the screen anywhere, that's Rolls Royce. Thanks for the nice message. Thank you, Tradespotting, for your members videos. They're really helpful. Cool. Yeah, I need to fix that most recent one. It's not ideal. That's from what I could gather on the little segment, but I didn't have time for it with all the work I've been doing. Right, so I can't take any more requests on top of what I've done, because I've got to do the section for Busy Apes, and then I've also got to it's now already here in Britain where I am 9:15. I've got to do other things, and I've been on for how long now? Well, not so bad. 2 hours, 2.5 hours, just over that. Tradespotting, my dad brokered a deal with them. No worries. Your dad brokered a deal with them. Who? TOL. Well, see, that's interesting, so I'll have to have a look at it now. You said something like that. Damn it. Right, so that means even less time for these ones. 9G, I did spend way more than allocated on them. I think this looks like a piece of shit at the minute. It'd have to go on and do, again, higher highs in the face of divergence, which it's been doing, though. It's been doing that since all of August. It's been putting in divergent highs, each one of them. Most recent, no different. The retracement was again a higher low, though. This is an uptrend. It's not steaming away with things. Daniel says, do you have any thoughts on the computer share? Apparently you can move shares there, and they are removed from the DTC seed co and guaranteed real. On computer share. What you're talking about there is this mechanism. I only watched it. If this touching on what Ape Andy was saying, he's right. He's right in everything that he's saying. The question is but it doesn't necessarily go anyway. Yeah. So the way it for FTDs, or which is where your synthetic shares most frequently or are theoretically the only place that these synthetic shares should come from. are and be in this scenario with them, it should only result of FTDs, and then the mechanism from those being closed rests with the broker, and so that same mechanism is not all that different from what you're talking about here in terms of transferring shares from DTCC prime broker people to whoever computer share are or whatever that is. I imagine that it'll go through the same process, and then sure, yeah, like they're only going to accept the real ones on your behalf. Or if such like turned out that they got given shitloads of synthetics, then they'd force the people that hold the failures to deliver to close to meet their obligations in that respect. That would happen. So like that mechanism, that same market mechanism there would be relevant. Yeah, computer science seems to be the new super stonk thing. They register them as physical certificate, but makes them harder to sell. So only do it if you want to contribute to the infinity pool. Good sense, good system. Yeah. If you want to do that with some of your shares anyway, and you're ultimately going to, that's a good idea. And thanks very much, Snickers, for that added value of that message. Awesome, thanks so much. A good question. I did what I could to answer it off the top of my head, Daniel. And then another contribution, added value from the chat box, and Snicker5 telling me exactly what was going on. So I appreciate that. I hope it helps other people. Thanks very much, chat, for being good and making it all work for everybody. Good folks. So this bullishly engulfing, yeah, that was like this, and there's no, I don't like this. Don't trust it. It's going up because it's cryptocurrency. Right. No trend change in your volume there. This was the low equal with this body closes here. That's where the volume really changed. Was at this high where it failed on this divergence, and that recovery was. Wonder if there was. See, this shit, right, is somebody who's trapped in a long position here or holds this and they don't want it. So they push the price up where the liquidity suggested that was possible and where the greater market gave them half a chance at it. And then they dumped their shit on you. And because that one market participant caused that to happen, this area of price action is very significant for this thing right now. I don't know how this works, this particular altcoin. I don't know the greater tokenomic and the distribution of it so far. I can tell you that it's had that's positive, and the volume doesn't suggest that all that much. Yeah, it's okay. You know, it's doing okay, and if there is an alt season that goes crazy, then great. I'd look at that and think it's fine. As with regards to entries and exit, I'm not going to give you anything off of that. In fact, I'm going to move off this quickly and say sorry, 038, that's the top side of this thing. Lots of people take profit there. If it breaks through it violently and whatnot, then you could be in for a good trade. I'd follow it with a stop loss. If you're entering on this, your 618 retrace from this recent low to this recent high comes in at around 0.182, and that's a significant drop down from where you are at the minute, and that's what I'd be looking to on this thing. Obviously, you've got other reasons why it could go up. That was a good enough move. This is holding the 50 period now on daily time frame, and that is positive, and it's also in an uptrend and whatnot. It's just, how does this work? How does this evolve? Does it fail its own exponential before it gets into the bullish control zone? Does it then reaccumulate at the center line? If not, it'll drop down to that 618 or lower. I suspect because this is going to be heavily influenced by the greater environment and Bitcoin dominance. Shit, innit? Haha. called it. Called that drop down. Yeah. Yeah. So it's a good cover, but I don't see this going above 51.69 anytime soon. You'd have to see a lot of it, and if it did, it's only going to bounce at 57 and come back down again. I could see that short term it'll be difficult for the alts, perhaps, if this recovers. It's all still resting on the 50 period moving average, and it is putting in higher highs and higher lows and whatnot, but there's a touch of rolling over about this. Might be that in short term there is some pain for alts because this will come back up likely, and then long term it might be well that this drops down, comes back, and it tests this low again, maybe even goes lower, but let's see. I'll draw this in. Yeah, that's where I'd look for this to probably come down. There might be a little bit of that now. If this is the right hand side of head and shoulders already and it's only caught the 50, if this doesn't get higher than 46.64, it'll then drop back down. That low will be nothing. So will this one. It'll do a measured move out of that and shoulder. It'll come down to the 618. That'll be around 43. Alts could have another big move on them up to the top side. It looks like it to me from looking at Bitcoin dominance that even if it, short to medium term, alts have got some sort of a big stretch outperform Bitcoin on them, because even if in the short term Bitcoin does better than it, it's got the 200 period above it there. After that death cross, you haven't even tested it to 200 yet. I don't see why Bitcoin would all of a sudden take off compared to alts. So there at the 200 period average above you, you've got that. So it could be that now is not exactly the time to take a trade in terms of like getting the most out of it and hold it the lowest amount of time. I am angry I don't have 5G. So these are these things to think about here. Cool, so that's what I'm thinking there. And holding the 50 period and whatnot is great, and these are higher highs and that's good, and you're back above this breakdown point, and that's, no you're not, you're below it, you're also below the 236 and that, and you're coming down, you're going to touch that 618. Like I've said, that's what's going to happen with this. What have I missed out on now? The only last one I've got to do is wish, and then tall wish quickly. Why is wish not on my chat requests? Open down there. What is this time frame? Oh, it's a daily, right? So we've got some picture of what's going on. When did we talk about this last? There was your low on the left. I should have drawings on this. I already looked at it and I can't remember what I said. Maybe I said down here's a really good entry, or maybe it was already down here, or maybe we were up here and then that's the low. I don't know. That's 15 minutes. So like, there are no drawings anywhere on this. So right, well you've gone in and you've put even in a lower low on this. What was the news on this thing? What's causing it to do that? Look at the state. That's the worst downtrend of its life. The worst part of the downtrend. It's only ever been in a downtrend. That's the worst part of its life in terms of downtrend. This is equally, there's not much between this and its worst ever place on the RSI. There's volume here. I mean, it's not as if everyone's going to immediately jump out of this because it's got to its lowest ever level. That'll be people buying it. There'll be accumulation. There'll be some sort of bounce. This is obviously some sort of an entry on this, unless in which case it's fucked. In which case then it's fucked. But I don't know. I mean, they've got lots of reasons. You would see a bounce up here. Also, let me see. There's an entry on this. There is an entry on this. I hate fucking trading this sort of thing. There's entry there. It's a significant percentage move. I'd wait until it recovered this 18 period moving average, or 21, or whatever you're using. Is it there yet? No, I'd look at it for on a 4 hour actually. At 236.9 spot 78. That's where it's going though. From here, that's where it's going. After that's question marks, but it's going to at least there. I still think this. I don't know what I said about it. I still think it's fucked long term. I don't know. It's been fucked all this whole time. It's been around. This is the entry in terms of volume. This is a potential reversal pattern coming in here with this low, and may get another chance to enter lower, but look at that gap down there. Like, yeah, I expect that this is the entry anywhere around here. I expect, like, yeah, that would be it. You can take profit anywhere. You're 236 at 978. I'd be very wary about trading it beyond there, because you could maybe then get a retracement and get any gain, not that much lower, but significant wise, percentage wise, and then I'd take that trade. I'd hold some of it. I'd get rid of some of it. You've got the 50 period moving average. It's currently at 1073. It was not going to go down that fast. It's got a positive slope on it still from that most recent move. Here on your 4 hour, couple of closes though, a significant chunk. Could take it off. I'd like to see this back at 978. After that, I'd think about a new trade. Now is a possible entry. Managing your risk is very much a manual process and guessing where it's going, because it's all-time lows, but it's also historical lows on the RSI. It is a place where it might turn around. It's never had this extensive a downtrend before, so like all areas for making you think it. All the reasons, like, I mean, what do you want on this? Like, that's entry. Now here, where it is there, it's post-market gap. So I don't know what that did to people who aren't yet in it. It's closed every other gap it ever had. Well, one of them. Anyway, well, no, two. Maybe 3, and then that, there might be an extra. But anyway, yeah, it's always done it before. It's not been that around that long. I can expect it doing that. You might get something up in around here, and it doesn't really change market structure until long above of 1739. So, you know, depending on what's going on with this, although I think a lot of Chinese tech companies are screwed, and I don't know what this is or where it's listed from that, but I know that the adverts that come up are completely absurd. So if they could work on improving their business a lot, then I can see a potential for it. And in terms of an entry, this is what to do. Get in where it's really, really cheap. Playing real back for Andy, and he's cheering you on. Tradespotting. Awesome. Hello, Andy. Stephen Tradespotting. Hey, Jamie. Why do stocks sometimes barcode liquidity? Usually it's liquidity. Sometimes it's like when the algorithms spin up and get a little bit out of control, but usually it's liquidity. Grizzle Primate. Oh yeah, man, it's totally been happening. It really always has. Maybe more now than before. Probably seen the most bull bear trips in 12-month period by a few years. Talking about the bitcoins. Breakout crap. Yeah, a big bag of welcome squeep. Right, isn't GME in a bit right now again? Yes, the GME bit is in a bit right now again. I'm about to go on to it. I've just finished Wish. That's all the ones we blast for. Apart from Toll, we're going to quickly look at that. Quickly. Toll Brothers, yes, that's what you're asking for. Let's see it here. Consumer durables, home building. Consumer durables, home building. Interesting. Listed in NYSE. Just had that retest there. That was an obvious entry. What's happening? What did I click that's happened? I'm back on Wish. Toll. Only want to drop in horizontal line, you crazy computer. There. Wow. Quinn upgraded Spider Monkey. Bloomin' heck, Quinn. Thank you very much. What a great day it's been today again. Thanks so much. What a great week it's been. Thank you so much. Thanks, man. Welcome, Quinn. Although he was already here and big, obviously now it's an even bigger part of it. Thank you so much. This thing, like, I mean, it's had so much of its move. You know, like $13 on the 22nd of June, and it's up at now at it's peaked at $66, and that's like, you know, when you look at something like that and you've been trading for a while, you think, well, that's happened. You know, a lot of you think, well, it's happened, that part of that move, and I'm not sure where the people you're connected to or Grace Foundation got in on that move, right? Nor what their time frame is or their horizons on the investment and whatnot, and what they themselves know about Toll Brothers and consumer durables. And I'm sure you yourself, living in America, will have a better understanding of what the housing market and that's like at the moment, and with regards to buildings, and then the macroeconomics of that, and like the regulations and government policies around it. I'm not sure what that looks like over there at the minute. But having had this extensive move and having there been a touch of divergence on it, should this be the top, which you'd only be able to define if prices drop below the 236, which at the same time would be dropping below a 50 period and 200 period moving average, which may at this stage have crossed over like significantly, because of that move in price and that confirmation of this golden cross at this side of it seems very significant with that retest, and it is on a weekly time frame, and that has broken above previous supports, and now it's testing what would be, if you look left, interesting for one reason only. So it might be that it's going into like blue sky breakouts and all-time highs. It's just on this break of this peak, it is divergent. This peak itself was divergent, and now we're divergent from it. And though that was such a good test below, with such a bullish wick on it, and then it opened and closed back, even though the wick starts recovering like at the golden pocket, and it's obviously going to come back and spring back up again, test its all-time highs. Just haven't done it and then come back to solve it. You know, I'm on the weekly and I'll go down, but that's like just like trading it. I don't know. I mean, it looks good long term, yeah. It's just because it's broken its all-time high. It's put in a new one. All that's good. Here's you're on the 3-day. There's loads of divergence on this move. Everything since it recovered from that breakdown has been horribly divergent. More so, even worse. This tested the 50, caught it. I don't trust this at all. I think it's going to drop down. I can't see this 200 holding it at the 236, because it slipped below it often enough there. And this zone here, it's bounced off it once, but this is shit. With the strength of it, it's going to come back down. It will probably break the 236. It may then go below and hit this horizontal at $28. If it doesn't stop at that 236, this horizontal on the left might be a short-term bounce and it could come in here, but then it would be likely short-term. Failing then above this support would then turn into potential resistance, and then expect a drop down that could get caught at the 0.5, which is, you know, horizontal is a reason it would definitely bounce to 28, and there's an entry for people. Your golden pocket retrace might be like more chocolate on your biscuit. But that would be the trade I'd be looking at from here. Long position. I'd want it in this golden pocket. I'd take profit as soon as it got back up to $41. The golden pocket's in at 24. I'd probably take it before that profit. Your stop loss on this is very hard to define based on support and resistance on the left, so let's just drop it outside of there. Say you waited that long, you take that sort of minimal risk. You've got 10 to 1 for first profit taking target. If it does do well, and it does look long term as it being a big uptrend doing alright, then your Fibonacci extension targets on it are just on that move alone. If it gets in there from here, let's see. Oops. Ugh. Let's say it gets in there. Let's say it breaks the all-time high. Then you would maybe keep something on. Take profit 10 to 1. Take profit at your 618. take profit at the full, retrace on the move at 68, and then leave something on till 113. That would be the way to trade this. If you're investing in it long term, your horizon on it, you're thinking like, I don't know how long, but you're looking at like 50 at a big increase, but maybe up to 100% over a period of time. That's what I'd be looking at for that sort of thing. And obviously it could explode and go up far higher, twice, 3 times as much as that, depending on the market. Is in a really long uptrend. It's only ever been in an uptrend. Serious industry. Houses aren't getting any cheaper over the long term. Super durables, huh? So I'm interested. I'll see how it goes and keep an eye on it if you like it. Right, so that's that, and I had to look at what else. GME and AMC. Fuck's sake, I've got so freaking. So many freaking. Okay, you putting the kettle on because my cup of tea's got cold and I'm going to come see you in 15 minutes. Start requests. Zoom. Oh, I've got so much tea on now. I'm trying to see wood for the trees. Guessing that was here. All that there, and obviously would have previously drawn it from here just to check, so I'll keep it there. This Fibonacci comes in here. Where's your 0? Here it is. Okay, excellent. There's the top of it. 0, 1. Okay, so this went down. And this one's up here, but we skipped that one. Well, this is a lower high. And that is not a divergent one though. That Fibonacci, how relevant is it? It's not really. It would actually be this one, maybe. Yep, that would be it. Okay. I believe the Doomslayers would benefit from hearing about the GME monthly time frame ascending triangle measured move. Tradespotting. You think so? Squeepington. Thank you very much, Squeepington. Let's go back to the monthly ascending triangle. But like, I'm sure you know that the Doomslayers know all about it because it was here where it was first identified. It was here where we counted the tree rings, spotted the geological features, worked out from the fossils what was going on, and then invented this new concept called ascending triangles that nobody previous to me saying it ever heard of them in their entire world before. That's a joke. Lipstick Coca-Cola. Lipstick Coca-Cola lip gloss. Ambitious. Right, so here we go. Rocky, you making that cup of tea? I hope so, because I'll be there in 15 minutes. Hi, I'm Jamie. This is Tradespotting. You probably all know that by now. And this is the Busy Ape series. We're going to do GME and AMC quickly. This is the 15-minute time frame. You can see I've marked out various levels of support and resistance. This bottom one is confluent with our body closes here, 157. Below that, you can see the 200 period moving average. We're above both of them on the Fibonacci that you draw in from our high, our mini high. down to this mini low, which forms these two levels of support and resistance on the extremes of these orange lines. You can see that we've come back up, recaptured 236 at this point, went above there, got up as far as the 0.886. That's normal in these oscillating moves. We then came back down, and the important thing to do was to hold that 236. We never got near it again. We're at the 382 and bounced back up again, recovered the golden pocket above the 618, and it looks to me like this is very positive. That right hand side being slightly lower is not the end of the world, because the RSI suggested that would happen. We have come and reaccumulated above the bearish control zone. We're heading towards the bullish control zone above bearish. If we break through this 236 on this greater fib, break through this horizontal support and resistance on the left at $164, and then that would also be the 1.414 Fibonacci extension from this tiny little fib, which I'm not sure how significant it will be long term, but like you're looking up to get above an open and close on significant time frames above that 164 and change level, at which point you may then fake out and come back down if you don't break above 160. 650, 167. You really want to see 4 hours open and closing above there, or a really big blow, big candle that like follows along with this potential channel that we're in here. You know, if you drop 1, 2, 3 touches on the top there, and you could see that there's 3 or 4 touches on the bottom here. This has evolved out of an inverted head and shoulders. Let's take the measure and move off that. It came back down, tested this area at the lower side of things. That's positive. It's the breakout zone more or less here. You've got this area behind you, behind price action, where there is like suggestions of an uptrend, you know, higher lows and higher highs until such recently, and since that what would be defined as a lower high here, because you have run a significant retrace, you've then done a higher high and come up, and here you're in a bit of flux, and then you might draw a pennant around that and say 50-50 whether it breaks up or down, but it's buying at support as opposed to resistance. That's smart if you're like doing position management, you're looking to get through this. It's coming off the back of a positive move. It came into that formation in a bullish way, so they're very positive about that, even if there is question marks over it. On the hourly time frame, that's just a continuation here. Higher high, higher high, higher low, and at this point you're just within what is the scope of reason, tracing up the bottom side of this formation. You're also there and near this hourly time frame, and it's difficult to see at that zoom level, so we'll go in a little bit here. And you can see, yes, still within the formation. You're above the 50 period moving average. This body closing above it there, body closing. That's significant. 1, 2, 3. And then in that you had a doji, so a retest of it that was successful, was very positive. To go on now and bounce off the 50 period moving average on the same timeline isn't unexpected. That's at 170. It could wick there on a 4 hour and come on a 1 hour or a 4 hour and come back to those other levels we talked about earlier, but that would be well within the scope of this formation and this channel. It wouldn't be anything dramatic with regards to horizontals on the left, because you know, opening and closing above 169 is what really gets your juices going there, and then you'd be looking for a move to 185. So that's what it looks like is happening. It really does. As you can see here, these lines marked out, support and resistance. I've got a clip on that coming out later on. If you remember, you'll see it. If not, it's in the live segment on Rocky Show on Monday morning, which I hope you look forward to, because it's going to be an interesting couple of weeks coming up on price action if everything goes as we've been saying for the last wee while. And you can see the opening and closing above that horizontal support line, or resistance, previously support and hopefully potentially support in future, also reclaiming this 18 period moving average and doing it at the basis line, which would be the center between these two extremes on this channel, would suggest that then prices could then go on and form a much more distinguished move. The 236 and this alternate Fibonacci is at 177, and if you just extend this out a little bit, that's like completely and utterly fine. It's on the 17th of August. It could do it on a wick long before then. 1414 up there. This looks positive. GME, it's going at $172. That's what it seems like to me. So that's your GME TA, and that's quite quick, I suppose. 5 minutes. And then we'll start on now AMC. Zoom out, higher highs, higher lows. That's all very positive. Your DI minus suggests that actually now that the downtrend is taken over on these smaller time frames, you can see you've got divergence between your RSI and your price action here. You're also at the top of a downward sloping channel. You've also failed to open and close significant time frames above this orange resistance. When you look left, you can see why that's important. This looks like it'll come back down and test this, which is a cross between the 50 and the 200, -1. The price action at that point is likely bounce. That's 32 and spot 39. It's also your 236 retracement in this Fibonacci that you're going through from low to high at the minute. It's within context of what's starting to show up on the chart as a bigger channel. Within that channel, you've got resistance here. We talked about how yesterday it was likely to come here and meet it. It did do. Within that, you've got other areas below where prices could be picked up at. Should they drop at $30 and change, that'd be interesting. But it still looks to me like this thing's on for putting in a lower low. At that point, you'd have filled your jets and you could really take off, because it's within this nature of this fallen wedge. That is a bullishly pattern usually breaks bullishly, and topside the measured move from that, because it's so large, is actually quite high up. You know, along the way you want to break the 618 here in order to confirm this is a positive breakout and not a fake out. You'd also want your indicators to be flashing at the same time to say that it's still got some headroom on the move. Overall, it might not be a wedge, it might be a falling channel, in which case that low would be even more likely, and it may also be a bull flag, in which case higher lows, lower highs until such times as it breakout would be fine. And the extent of that thing, well, it's getting quite extended now. Perhaps it's about time it did something. And when I say it did something, that could mean going both ways, one and then the other, and coming back to where it was begin with. And should that be lower and then back here, we'll see what happens, because the 236 at 32.29 is an important level, and I think that $32 and change is going to be important for this, despite the fact that there might be percentage moves on it ahead of that, quite big. Either way, I think it likely is seen again a number of times. So we'll see. This is also price actions doing what it's doing now, while the RSI on these lower time frames is at the center line, but this just put in a touch of divergence at the top, so lower level of tested is expected here, and there's been very little to test other than right at the bottom of the bearish control zone. So it may well be that that's what happens at that stage. I'd be looking for that on the RSI now, and like it's when you look just up here to price action, you look along and see there's the last touch of it, there is the previous touch of it, there was the touch of it before. Within that there was not as much, you know. So the three last touches of this part of the RSI have come at three lower lows on this formation, and would another one happen? Likely, until we see some different characteristics happening on higher time frames. Let's go back up again. Hourly, yeah, that's very obvious, that formation that's forming there. 4 hour, you can see again really bullish trend. Looks much more like a bull flag up here. Price action could come up again, test its high, come down, maybe it's slightly lower, maybe it's slightly higher, and it looks like something that could break out to the upside and go very well. So that's that AMC looking good, you know. And really it's about monitoring on the small term time frames and keeping an eye on any drops, because the sort of thing you'd want to jump into. Looks very bullish overall, and any retracement down is not all that much of a drop compared to the amount that it'll then likely go when it goes back up again, even if that doesn't reach all-time highs, which it probably is going to, and it's probably going to add on another 30 or 50 bucks just because of the way this chart's moving. And that's what I expect to see there. So that's the time, that's that, and we'll look quickly at the monthly there, because there was the suggestion in chat to check about the ascending triangle on the monthly. Really, when you're on the monthly, there's so many other things on the go that it's, the ascending triangles mostly like on the weekly. On this time frame, you're actually in what's a pennant. This is your pennant. It's pretty clear there. It comes at the top of this move here. The monthly, it's got this move on it. It's, you know, right. I hope you're sitting comfortably. That'll take you back up to this 480, 500 bucks level, and that's just a move out of this pennant. Should it get above that 618 there at the top side of it, say it doesn't get that whole move, and say it doesn't break out until then, you're still looking at 450 plus bucks. And I've been saying for ages this is going 450 bucks, and then I've been saying that it likely goes to 2,450 after that, and that's what you're looking at there. You go down to the weekly, and then it's become slightly more of an ascending triangle. This is what I started talking about when everyone started giving me shit about the cup and handle. I was like, well, look, mate, this is what it actually is. And now everybody's fucking talking about it, right? And now that's not the line, right? That isn't the line. The line is more like, you could say that's a descending triangle, but it cuts through too many things on the top side. This is what I'm looking at here with regards to that body close of these two wicks, and I take it from this body close, and these two wicks touch the top of it. It's all a zone anyway, especially with the way the fuckers have been behaving up there. Yeah, sure, you've got this line at the bottom here, and you can say, is that what's going on? But oops, pardon me, I actually think it's more like taking these areas here, taking it across and saying this sort of thing here. Maybe even easier to draw that with the bottom side if we're actually looking at the 2 and 3 day. Squeeze this into the chart properly so it does show up. Just take these body closes properly. And then it's something along there and you're catching like that side of it. It's this drop out of it. Well, not really. And you're back at the bottom side of it. It shows that this line looks to be significant now with the trace in the top of the bottom of it and catching it here. It seems to be significant to me. Having touched it once, that would constitute 2. That's definitely 3. Breakdown, retesting this area again, not just the horizontal but also the diagonal sloping line. I mean, that seems significant to me. Open and closing with inside of that, well then that would be very, very bullish. If you're looking at it on the daily time frame. And then you can get even more in on the left hand side of things and say like all of these little wicks. The bottom of that left hand side here, there's another touch and there's another touch, and that's 3. It's the daily time frame. You need 3 for it to mean something. 1, 2, 3 all comes after this change. It's a different characteristic, the chart from that area there at the end of February, January. It's a completely different company. And then this is this really obvious formation here. You know, you start looking at it, you could even say there's like a kind of like there's the potential for that not even to be an ascending triangle, but to be like a upward sloping channel. Taking it with these bodies this high, and you're just looking for a third touch on that, and that is the measured move of this thing. If it comes down to the bottom side of it and gets up here, you know, you're looking at it already. It's like it just draws itself, this kind of thing, as you go through the time frames and think about how price action is likely to evolve and what it'll look like in future. And you speak to your future self, and you do a thing that I've talked about many times on this channel, talk about Schopenhauer's telescope, and how's your future self going to judge the actions of your current self. Now, I've seen that very interesting and worthwhile philosophy perverted and bastardized in some sense, sort of circle jerk positivity nonsense recently on people talking about make the decision that your future self will be proud of and that, and it's like, cool, yeah, you can turn it into a tagline, you can avoid actually investigating these things, and you might never learn very much about life apart from like drugstore commercial level psychology. Truth is, you can investigate it properly and understand it properly, and you might actually appreciate the process in doing it, right? And so what's your future self going to think about you now? Well, they'd like you to work out a path from where you are now to where you'd want to be, and you do too, because it's not having what you want that makes you happy, it's the having of plan that you can put your efforts towards, and it's the pursuit of happiness that matters. And that's why technical analysis can be fun, even if you're not taking a trade off the back of it. It's also, I find, quite a restful thing to do, and then when you're later proved right, it really makes you look good on the internet, so there's that too. And yeah, so that's what you're looking at in this. Does it form this sort of thing? You know, is it any of the other formations we've talked about? Do you trade formations exclusively? It's really difficult to do that kind of thing and be profitable, especially if you do it on shorter term time frames. But this thing on a daily time frame, with what it's done here combined with what it looks like on a log chart over this period of time, you know, like that's quite obviously accumulating at resistance. You know, it's really obvious. This being resistance up in 200 and something bucks, like that's ridiculous for an asset that for so very, very long was less than a tenner. It's consolidating here is very bullish. So this is my thoughts on the TA. Thank you very much for tuning into the Busy Ape section. That's 15 minutes. All right, awesome. Just the right amount of time. Thanks, everybody. Tune into a live stream sometime. I know you're busy, but you're not that fucking busy, right? There is the live stream. And the short term, long term, medium term, everything there really. Next week, we'll take a look at different types of indicators. It'll be a whole different type of chart you're looking at. There'll also be all the segments that we filmed this week, some of which didn't quite make it through. Those that did will be improved. The production quality will be better, and they'll all be really, really interesting. They'll form really interesting bits on Rocky and I's shows that we feature on for each other and ourselves. I'll have new indicators, we'll talk about them, I'll talk about different ways of doing technical analysis next week if you like. I'll look at all sorts of things. If you tuned in for the live stream, you'll have seen that, oh, you did, and this is, and if you didn't and you want to go back, you'll have seen that we looked at Max Payne, did all sorts of different things. Didn't do the dark pool stuff, but it got a bit late now. Nobody seemed to mention it that I noticed. So there you goes. Yo, Electro Boy. So I've been talking to people. All the it goes about the NFT thing. It should be dead easy. All you need is a quick, simple little picture. I've put a post on the moderator thing. Quick, simple little picture. A one-word theme and one accessory. None of your time, none of your efforts. Just that. You don't have to be involved if you don't want to. And the process. It's supposed to be a reward for all the moderators we've helped. So thank you very much. And if you haven't heard that, there's moderator housekeeping as tagged by Case in a video a couple of days ago. So look it up and you'll see the message. Or look up one of the moderator threads and the moderator room in Discord and you'll see the message. It's a monument. Welcome to GIMP. It's a Simonem. So Simon M, thank you so much. Welcome. What an awesome day it's been. It's 2 amazing days in a row, an amazing week. What's the my? Have I got credits here? Are they at the top of the screen? Will they show up? Will anything work anymore? Thank you so much, Tradespotting. You didn't play my clip, lol. I couldn't find it, Rocky. It wasn't marked where it was in your stream. I told you during the stream, but you didn't see it. Like loads of comments about it that I thought we could do with, yeah, and I really want to have a cup of tea and whatnot. And also think like the stream, like, you know, I'll talk to you when I get up the road. I'll talk to you about it when we get up the road, yo. There's no way to get to it in your video without scrolling through it and looking for it to find it because it's not clearly marked within it as a segment. And also, yes, what I'd ideally like for it to be would be like to be something that was like the best possible version of what you can do. And I know that just because what you can do, Rocky, is better than what anyone else can do with a month's work just off the top of your head, I was thinking that you'd want it to be fantastic by your own standards. And I mean, it was really, really good. It's just I know what you're capable of, and I'm not saying like this in any way. I'm sure it's demotivating, if anything, but you know it better than most people, so I was hoping it would be like a bang, bang, boom, 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 like on that. And I didn't play my own clip, which I made on support and resistance, because then watching it back, I was like, you know what, I think there's bits of this that aren't right. It's not working properly when I'm playing it, and I can make it better myself. So I also didn't play my own clip, you know, so anything I say about you would mean it even more strongly about myself, and perhaps that's what affected my thoughts on it. So that's the long and short of that. When about dark pools? What about them? Well, I didn't get around to looking at them. People didn't ask for them. And I'm not sure if I'm going to continue doing it because it's so expensive. Like, it's so expensive. And although everyone's really, really generous and whatnot, it's not something that makes sense at the minute. So we'll see. Tradespotting, in your opinion, which indicators do we need to be provisioned in order to maximize squeeze profits? Like, that's a huge question, Stefan. You know that I'm tired. I'm not going to answer that. Come on, man. I'll answer it next week. I asked Girk and he said the way he trades. VWAP, RSI candles, and volume. Well, I mean, short answer, it's like I'll use the best possible technical analysis. That's volume, volatility, momentum, and trend. I'll do it with every possible indicator I can. I'll have every possible thing on the go at that stage. You know, I've covered maybe, I don't know, about 16 or 20 different indicators so far since I started talking about GME to a big audience. You've seen most of them, mate. So, like, those ones, and all the other ones I've ever used with regards to accumulation distribution. You know, like I've got suites of indicators that I would have used and tested over the years with regards to momentum, volatility, and so many different ways of analysing a trend. So I'll be doing all those different things, all those different on-chart, off-chart indicators. Say off-chart, I mean in panels below it, but still I'm a classical chartist. Don't put all that much weight on the VWAP. I honestly think it's like, you know, I really, really don't put much weight in the VWAP, right? I don't. I know that a lot of people do, and they like worship this indicator, and I don't at all. And I know that they think it's fantastic, and then I would say it's okay. Tradespotting, are you shaming Rocky in front of everybody? No, not shaming him. Saying he's amazing, and that his clip doesn't have links in it, so I'm shaming you guys for not putting a link in the comments and saying, wow, how good was this segment at this time, in which case I would have found it and it would have been played earlier and it would have saved me the embarrassment of my own poorly constructed clip. That's the truth of that matter. Tradespotting, random question, what's your favourite Stuart Lee bit? When he's asked in the interview that he set up about his show a number of years ago now, and he's being asked, you know, so is it that you want the audience to think and be unsure if you are actually really, like, if you're really, really, like, is it a joke? Are you really joking? Or is it that you're actually a psychopath? It's as if you want the audience to feel that way, and he says, yeah. So, but he delivered it in a completely different way after an hour of being ironically arrogant, which I thought was quite good. I also really like the way he separates himself from the audience by being a sort of difficult to like character, and I admire his approach there, and I learned lots from him. So thank you very much. I hated my own delivery of this show today. I freaking hated it. I don't know why. Loads of aspects to it, and then things not working out as I wanted. Yeah, you know, that does my head in. Well, I was going to use the credits, so let's do it. This is this. Here I hit this thing, and then I can thank people, and I probably did miss super chats, so let's see if I see what they say there. Become a member, thank you, SSMN. No thanks, is subscribed. Cheers. Squeepington became a member, thank you. Roman Swan, thank you. Bama Majama donate $5 for super chat. I switched yesterday. So if mess happens, then it was all me. Lol. Ha. But just for real. No, but for real, lol. Yeah, I saw you did switch yesterday. A huge commitment there by my Majama, switching out and switching in again. So let's see if we can trigger these things or increase our effects from owning and holding. So by my Majama, you're a legend for this whole process and this whole story. You're a legend, man. Jamie, do you have any thoughts on that? Whether it's that one, what's the protector? I missed the Dandinade. Have a good weekend from Miss Ghost. I've seen that one. We loved it, Tradespotting. Sir David P. Yo, Tradespotting. Have a great weekend. Checking in late today. Thank you, my lord David. Quantity wears you out. Fridays feels. Yes, quantity wears me out. Damn right it was. So if that was help, I'm glad, because I did put in effort. I always put in the effort. That's obvious. And do it for you guys. I'm publishing the clip on my channel. Be sure to leave a comment saying it's shit, lol. Do not do that. Leave a nice comment on it. Yes. So, like, if you're publishing it now, you'll have a link to it already, right? Copy it in there, Rocky, and I'll link it. I've got a link to what up at the top there, Ronaldo. So if you haven't subscribed to him, do. Rocky, put the link into your video, and then if you're saying you're publishing it now. If not, then tell me so I don't hang around for it, you know. Hang around. Hang around. Hang around, hang around. Right, credits. I don't know where that super chat I missed is, because I definitely got some within that. If you want a laugh, I DM'd you GME price movement for the next 6 months on the tweets. Wait a second there, JC is me. Fairly certain it's nearly 100% accurate. Incompetence and ignorance might have been at play, but I accept that. Okay, awesome. I'll have a look at that. I can't do it on stream. I'm about to fall over. Justified Rage. Definitely got that one. So that's what I missed. Brilliantly amazing TA on PLTR. Thank you so much, Paul. Andy, bippity boppity bop. Sniff, sniff, sniff. Uh-oh, me thinks it's your hedge fund stepped into poop. Scottish TA. Doomsley and 8 poops, that is. Baby. Have a great weekend, everybody. Andy A. Andy A, brother, thank you so much. Andy A super chat, $25 for that. Wow, holy croopers. Andy A is famous for the limericks, and I famous for bastardizing every one of them. I don't know what that's all about. Andy A, you're a legend. You are. Right, the last minute. Thank you so much. So let's hit this credits. Let's hit the credits. Hit them. Roll them. Rolling credits. Apparently. Oh, there they are. Everybody supported the stream. I don't know if every other donation comes up, but then I will thank you all, even if not directly. Thanks. Super chats. Rob Davis. Manifest Destiny, Katie Waves, Matt Milanese, Drew Sol, Jackson, Hunter, Legend, Daniel, you Legend, Autocrook, Holland, Drew40, Will Stoke, Doomslayer, Rector, Jates Jones, Kim Robbins, Observe Thyself, Jen Campbell, I'm Not a Cat, Ball B, Daniel Groves, JC is me, Fred Wade, Amanda Buchanan, Badman Majama, Space Monkey, that Dan, Andy Yay, the last minute, subscribers, look at all those subscribers, thank you so much. Hopefully you stick around and get to know me. Doomslayers. Wow. House of Family Fun, Sensory Hoax, Kimmy Yo, OG, Chance the V Whopper, Squeepington, Amazon, Joe, awesome, that's fucking ace. Whoops, that's brilliant. Yo. Well, tell you what, next week, because you know you joined and you're a VWAPer, let's slip the VWAP on. I'll talk about the good and the bad of the VWAP. Okay, I'll compare it to the tool that I use instead of it, and you can make your own mind up about what to take away from that and what you might use from your own lessons and take from mine. You know, I'm sure I can make it so that there's something you haven't heard about the VWAP before, and probably I'll cover that maybe next week. Probably put it in, yeah. Cool, why not, right? Why not make up for all those blasphemous things said about it so far? Okay, everybody, thank you. Wow. What a great week. I'm just disappointed I didn't do better somehow, but I did good, and it was good TA. What's wrong with me? What is it with me? Is it just not eating? Is that what it is? Quite possibly. Take care of that sort of thing. I should really. Okay, thanks. Have a great weekend, everyone. Love you.